seek truth, chasing evidence on the loose. Learning journeys never end. Verdicts come, let's not pretend. Ultimate truth, we're here to see. Like and subscribe, come follow me. Questions answered in the night. Join the jury, it feels right. Witness tales and legal fights. Every case a different light. Digging deep for facts to find. Share this journey every time. Ultimate truth, we're here to see. Like and subscribe, come follow me. Questions answered in the night. Join the jury, it feels right. Witness tales and legal fights. Every case a different light. Digging deep for facts to find. Share this journey every time. Ultimate truth, we're here to see. Like and subscribe, come follow me. Questions answered in the night. Join the jury, it feels right. Learning pathways every day. New adventures here to stay. Journey onward, feel the vibe. Juror fam, don't forget to subscribe. Ultimate truth, we're here to see. Like and subscribe, come follow me. Questions answered in the night. Join the jury, it feels right.
Hello. I knew that wasn't going to start the right way. Well, I will be tweaking that. I was just throwing it together this morning. I hope you liked it, but I think I'll be cutting a little bit of time out of it because it's a little long. So, how are you guys? Where were you last week? That's right. It was me. I was gone. I apologize. I have some issues going on with my back that was not allowing me to do much of anything. Good news is, this morning, right before we started, I got a call from my neurosurgeon and I go see him tomorrow. So super happy. Just fix it. That's all I need. So if you see my little avatar come on, I'm probably just standing up. So I'm still here, still watching. Don't do anything. Anyway, we are going to watch the Daniel Garcia sentencing. You'll remember this gem. He is from Texas. He was not in Judge Boyd's courtroom, which was sad. I don't remember the judge's name that he was in front of. This guy and this little boy's, I don't want to call him mother, person who gave birth to him because she does not deserve the title of mother. He was Nickolle Aguilar, boyfriend. She had a 5-year-old son, Domenic, another daughter, and then he had 2 kids. They did not have any children together, thank goodness. Anyway, for whatever reason, poor Domenic got the brunt of everything that angered Daniel Garcia. From punching him, closed fist, grown man, 5-year-old boy, in the face, breaking his jaw. And after that, everybody, including Dominic's so-called mother, set and ate pizza in front of him, and he got to eat nothing. the last time that we saw Dominique alive, there's video from the hotel they were staying at. They were walking down the stairwell. It is July in Texas. He is covered head to toe, hoodie on, hood up. This is in 2021. Mask is on, sweatpants on. He's trying to come down the stairs. He's struggling to get to the bottom of the stairs, and you see Daniel just grab him up, and he falls. At some point after that, Daniel takes Dominique back up to the hotel room, and he never comes back out alive anyway. Don't know what happened there because mom was sitting in the car with the other kids on her phone on Facebook. At some point, Dominique passes away. They decide to get, hang on one second, in the car, put him in the car, and drive him from Texas to Colorado. He's deceased in the back seat with his sister. And the dogs are somewhere in the car. They drive to Colorado. They gently lower him, as the mother said, down the side of the mountain. Except for in the testimony from the FBI, and I believe the mother, it came out that they were throwing jugs of water at him in an attempt to get him to roll further down the side of the mountain. So there was no gently to it. And then the FBI had to actually rappel down the side of the mountain to recover his remains. The mom's already been sentenced. She got 15 years. Not enough, in my opinion. I didn't make the deal. She will be here in this sentencing, and she will be testifying against him today. So curious to see what she has to say this time. I'm not thinking she's going to say much, and she's been emotionless. She's shown no emotion this entire time watching the video of her little boy and the horrible pain he was in, the injuries that they described that he had: broken leg, broken ribs, broken jaw. I'm mad at you in just a second, Jody. All the things that this little boy was enduring before he passed away, and she did nothing. Nothing. So it was a rough case to watch. This will probably be a rough hearing. It's a long hearing. It's a long sentencing. So just be prepared, because the details that we had in the original case that we watched, they're rough. So warning now. And I'm going to bring in Miss Jody. Jody and
I'm
I are
hiding.
falling apart, if y'all didn't know.
Morning.
Yes. She's not well. I'm
No,
not well.
but I'm here. Hello, YouTube family.
We are falling apart.
It's just getting old. Things just got
Yeah.
hairs
So
on it.
for all of you under 50, just wait. Actually, when I hit 40, I started falling apart. When I hit 50, I fell apart even more.
Mhm.
So great.
Hello,
So-
sweetheart. How are you?
I'm here. That's what I tell everybody. I'm here.
I'll be right, Miss Gabby. Thank you for my lovely email.
So there's breath in my lungs, and that's all I can tell you.
There's no swing in the step, but there's there's breath in the lungs.
Hello,
Yeah.
Gabby. Hello. Good to have.
So
I
sweet.
have not.
Morning, you to have.
I'm way, way, way out of sorts, so I apologize in advance for that. Okay.
Where's Mr. Brybear?
I don't know. Haven't heard from him.
The birthday boy.
Yeah, I have it was yesterday, but I did make just a little thing. Nothing great for him. So if we don't see him, I'll just put it up later.
Aw.
Oh, thanks, Gabby. Wish we could boop and make ourselves feel better. That'd be awesome. All right. So let's get this wonderful, wonderful man sentenced. And out of here, he's getting ready to enter the courtroom. Guys, make sure you let me know how the sound is. I don't have it like blasting, I don't think. I'm learning still. But here we
It's
go.
a work in progress, isn't it?
It's absolutely trial by fire.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my gosh, do I have it muted? I do not.
I was just
That is
thinking
them.
that.
That is them. So there's the gem. There's the wonderful
He's
man.
lovely, isn't he?
Hey,
Good
Adair.
morning, Adair.
How you doing? So nobody is charged with the actual, like, there's no first degree anything unaliving charges in this because they basically pointed the finger at each other. She took a plea deal,
Was this a
so he got the
Judge
better.
Boyd trial?
This is
or-
not Judge Boyd, but it is in that county, in that courtroom.
Look at
Or
me
in
getting
the-
all used to the counties.
Yeah. It is in that
The Bexar.
in the Bexar. Yes, we know it's Bear. Yeah,
He looks young.
they are young. She will still be pretty young when she gets out. She's in her mid-20s, maybe, or late to mid-20s, and I don't remember how old he is. Unfortunate, because she's still be young enough to have children, and I hope she never has another one.
Mm.
In the you covered the Ruiz trial. In that trial,
Yep.
She got 45 years. She did more, though. This woman did nothing. But she only got 15. And she's already served 3.
Oh.
I don't see anybody for your hearings.
And then you look at Ashley Bannerfield.
Yeah, this trial was rough.
They did put a motion in though for retrial.
For this case, that doesn't surprise me. Thank you, Debbie. I haven't watched this, so oops, sorry there. Just saved it. Absolutely, that's why it deserves just as much time as Lady Latoya's.
Yeah, I from this morning.
Katrina
it's on
Mendoza.
Zoom, and I'm not going to take that up right now. I'm not going to take that up.
All right, come on, Case. SAT, whatever, KSAT 12, fix your at sound. There's the bunny. I see the bunny. That's why we love this courtroom, because the bunny's sitting up there. I don't know what it is.
The last thing that I have marked is 82, so you're there on 83. State, are you ready? Defense, are you ready? Yes.
I hope they took that white noise sound out of it. It's awful.
Ready? We're on the record. This is cause number 2023 CR 6452, the state of Texas versus Daniel Garcia. We're here for the sentencing hearing. Attorneys, please make your announcements.
to Oscar Salinas for the state of Texas, and we'll be joined shortly with Nathan Moore, also of the state of Texas.
Richard Garcia for defense. Michael Brooks for defense.
Mr. Garcia is present in the courtroom. Go ahead and tell me your full name.
Daniel Garcia.
Thank you,
State,
Gabby.
do you have, does either side wish to make an opening statement?
The state does, Your Honor, and also if we could address preliminary matters, there was a sentencing memorandum that was filed by the defense along with a supplemental affidavit. The state subsequent after that filed an objection to those affidavits in that we're requesting that that be in live testimony in order to give us an opportunity to cross those individuals who made those statements.
Response?
Your Honor, our position is that under Article 42A 252, we should be allowed to have those items allowed in with the sentencing memorandum. According to 42A 252A9, it states that pre-sentence report the judge shall direct a supervision officer to prepare a pre-sentence report by the judge. And any other information relating to the defendant be submitted.
The state's objection is noted for the record. It is overruled. Opening statements.
Yes, sir. And may I approach the
Yes. You can minimize that. Off the record, if you can just join the Zoom meeting,
just join right here?
join and then minimize,
Oh,
and we'll get it ready when your witness is ready.
Oh, look at him.
Okay, back on the record.
thank you. May it please the court, opposing counsel. So just a recap of the evidence, since it has been some time since the jury of his peers found this defendant guilty of the offensive injury to a child, SBI. Daniel Garcia checks into a hotel here in San Antonio, Texas on this date right here, July 20th, 2021. This is Daniel arriving with Domenic Aguilar along with other children and Nickolle Aguilar, as the court noticed, and was presented in trial. Dominic's face is covered throughout this entire stay at the Wood Springs Hotel. We've then seen this video of a unconscious Domenic Aguilar being carried up the stairs by Daniel Garcia after he was seen coming down the stairs in a previous video and collapsing at the end of those stairs. We see Daniel Garcia going to retrieve the other individuals that he was staying with, which included Nickolle Aguilar and the other children. And we see here Nickolle Aguilar hand Daniel Garcia her cell phone, which then we know Daniel Garcia uses that cell phone and says statements like, "I need to drop the kids off," and that he had an emergency in Miami, Florida. He then starts texting from Nickole's phone talking about his urgency and needing to leave the state of Texas to go to Florida for a job opportunity, which we all know is a lie. Because he checks out 4 days early and is later seen carrying Dominic's limp, unconscious body down those stairs. We know that Daniel used Nickole's phone to communicate with his mother, Arlen Acosta, Daniel's mother, and we have that record here. We then know that that cell phone traveled up to Colorado, where Dominic's remains were found after being a month in the wilderness, and they were skeletonized. Daniel then flees the country and makes a lot of phone calls to his mother. And then here's a picture of Daniel in Costa Rica. And all that evidence of Daniel was sent to this court and presented in this court without any mention of the testimony of Daniela and Nickolle. But
Not
Daniela does
back
say
and
that
forth.
Dominic was hit by Daniel and not by Nickolle.
Let's say
Nickolle then describes punches to Dominic's face, punches to his rear end, and describes knees to his stomach area, which are consistent with the injuries that are found in Dominic's bones. But at this point, Judge, the court will learn more about this defendant. The court will learn that this defendant was physically abusive to both Samantha and Nickolle. The defendant punched Daniela. Samantha will testify that this defendant expressed a desire to kill his mother, and that he stated to her that his mother was lucky that he was no longer in a gang anymore, and that he knew people, or something to that effect. The court will hear also, in Daniel's own words, in some of his jail calls, his lack of remorse or true appreciation of his conviction in this entire process. So what are Daniel's own words that this court will hear? Daniel states that he expects this case to get expunged since everyone gets at least one. He hopes to get his Second Amendment right restored and become a truck driver. And the court will hear Daniel blame everyone from the trial process, the jury,
Okay.
the prosecutor, and he'll call his daughter a liar.
we freaking didn't
We're
read.
here ultimately because of what he did to that boy right there, what he did to that boy's remains, and Daniel deserves life in prison. And that's what the state will be asking for.
Please, can I have another chance?
Defense, do you wish to make an opening statement?
No, Your Honor, we'll wait.
Everyone gets one? What the heck does
Yeah.
that mean?
Mhm.
Pick your 5-year-old and take him out. Everyone gets one.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. I didn't realize he had threatened to unalive his mother as well. He's a winner.
Oh, chum. Is he
Well,
single?
at least I'm hoping he's got a cell next to Jose Ruiz and
Oh,
they can
yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. Same county. At least this attorney's not going to yell at us this time, like she did in her opening statements. We're like, calm down, woman. All right, she's not making an opening statement. Thank goodness.
Morning, Bun.
Oh, hey, Bon. No, this is the state just did their opening of the evidence that we saw in this trial. Of they arrived at the hotel, he was alive. They left the hotel, he was not alive. Went to Colorado, and then apparently we're going to hear some jail calls where he's an idiot, even more so than we thought. So it was just very quick state opening of why he should have life, and the defense is going to waive their opening. So we should get on with the witnesses. Jody, if you've got any, you got to like wave your hand at me if you need to say anything, because I've got so much white noise in my ear from them trying to pick up the sound of them not using their microphones. I can't hear you.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Oopsies.
Call your first witness.
This time, Judge State called Nickolle Aguilar this guy.
Oh, and here's the other half of this duo coming out. It'll be interesting to see what her testimony is now. She's been sentenced. She has nothing to lose. She can continue to blame everything on him.
You covered her sentencing last week, yeah? Is that right?
Did you say what?
Oh, sorry.
That's
You
okay.
covered her sentencing last week, is that right?
I think it was a couple of weeks ago
Okay.
that I covered
Thought
hers.
so.
Hers was pretty short and sweet. Like I said, his is long. I think she's on the stand for quite a while. Hey, Christine, how you doing?
Oh, hey, Christine.
Hope you are doing well and enjoying what is left of summer. I'm getting sad, and you're going into summer, which makes me jealous. So, time for me to move to Australia.
Yep. Come on down.
All right, get her in here.
While we wait for the witness, Mr. Bunk, can I see you at the state of hearing?
Mr. Bunk, you are wanted at the bench. There she is. Yay.
It's rude to whisper.
It's funny.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Nicole, let's get right into it. When did you first meet Daniel?
Mid-October of 2021.
And how did y'all meet?
We met on social media on Facebook.
And so after you met on Facebook, did y'all start hanging out?
Yes, shortly after that.
Where and how did y'all meet up?
The first place that we met up was at a bar, and we hung out, talked, had some drinks. And then after that, I spent a weekend at his house. And then after that, we started hanging out more progressively.
Okay. So when was the first time that you met or you found out that Daniel had children of his own?
It was that same first night that I met him in person,
And when did he find out that you had children?
that same night.
When was the first time that you met his children?
It was sometime around the beginning of the year of 2022. He brought them over after picking them up from the airport.
And then what about your children? When was the first time that he met Domenic and Aguilar?
Shortly after that,
Where were y'all when he met them?
we were at my house. He came by during one of the days off that I had at work. And we took them all to the park.
And so right now you said that y'all met in 2022.
No, 21. Yes.
That's when your children first met Daniel?
No, the kids met Daniel in 22. Yeah.
She's wrong on her years. I think he
Oh,
passed away in 21.
I said that wrong, didn't I? I did. I'm sorry, I get my years confused.
Okay. So you met Daniel, what month was it?
October.
Okay. And what month did he meet your children?
After February, so March or April.
Okay. And what was that interaction like the first time that he met Domenic and met Alani?
It was nice. Like I said, we took them to the park and they just were playing around. Everything was fine.
Can you tell the court about a time when Domenic and Alani were swimming with Daniela and Alexander?
Yes.
We didn't vote the roll. I'd like to vote the roll this time.
Is there any witness that is going to give testimony this afternoon in the courtroom? The roll has been invoked. You may proceed.
I think that was her mother that just walked out.
Mr. Salas, you may proceed.
Yes, Judge. So what happened that day?
We were at the pool and the kids were playing in the water, and Domenic was playing in the water and he grabbed some water and spit it towards Daniela, and then Daniel got upset and I had to put Dominic in timeout.
So let's talk about whose pool were you at?
We were at the apartment complex. We live in the apartment complex, and we were at that pool.
Who lived in that apartment complex?
Me, my mom, my brother, my sister, my stepdad, and the kids.
So after this happened, where did you all go?
We went to the front of the house. We live on the upstairs of the apartment complex, and down at the stairs there's a fairly nice patch of grass where the kids play. So that's where we went.
Okay. And then that evening, where did you, Dominic, and Avani spend the night at?
We spent the night at his house
Deb got that. Thanks, dude.
What city was that in?
in Miami,
In what city did your mom and yourself live?
in Boca Raton.
That's in Florida?
Yes,
And so how long did Dominic stay with Daniel during that time?
for a week,
What were you doing during that week?
working.
What about Daniel? Was he working?
No, he was not.
Okay. What about Avani? Where was Avani staying?
Ivani was staying at my mom's house.
Okay. So during that time, during that week, I guess it's in April, Dominic was staying alone with Daniel.
Yes,
At some point, did you become aware of Dominic being punched by Daniel?
yes.
How did you become aware of that?
Daniel told me, but he didn't say that he had punched him. He told me he spanked him.
Okay. About what?
About- It was something regarding toys.
Okay. And so was that the first time that you found out that Daniel physically disciplined Dominic?
Yes.
Did you have any discussions with Daniel about that physical discipline and what kind of the rules were or anything like that?
We had come to an agreement that he was going to discipline his children his way and that I was going to discipline my children my way.
Okay, so that was kind of an agreement that y'all had?
Yes.
And did he eventually continue to physically hit the children?
Yes.
And did he physically hit Dominic?
Yes.
At some point, did your mother, Shirley or Siri, become aware of this incident that happened at Daniel's residence?
Yes.
How did she become aware of that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
How did she become aware of Daniel hitting Dominic?
How did she? Dominic told her.
Okay. Did your mom confront you about that?
Yes, she did.
And how did you react?
I told her that I was going to talk to him about it, but I never brought it up
Why did you never bring it up?
because I already knew what was going on and I was afraid that it was going to get into a bigger argument.
Okay. I guess during this part of your relationship with Daniel, would you get into arguments or disagreements with him?
Yes, we would.
At any point did those arguments or disagreements turn physical?
Yes.
Explain to the judge how.
He was driving and I don't remember what we were arguing about, but he turned towards me and started hitting me while we were in the car. And I just kind of dug into myself. And when the car stopped, I got out of the car and then he put me back in the car.
At any point during your relationship with Daniel, did he ever express to you that he knew certain types of chokeholds?
Yes, he did. One time when we were at his house, at his mom's house, he was talking to me about learning how, he would, how do I say this? He would say that he was showing me how to defend myself. And so he would wrestle me and put me in chokeholds and punch me in the legs.
Would you tell him to stop?
Yes.
And what would he do?
He would just keep going.
So you testified in the trial that, where your son was the victim of Dominic. So let's talk about Avani. At any point in your relationship with Daniel, did you see Daniel be physically abusive to Avani?
Yes, I did.
How?
He punched her in the face one time, and her eye got a little red mark on it from it. And then afterwards, when we were, when we were driving down to Costa Rica, he was being physically abusive to her as well.
So let's talk about, you had met Daniela and Alexander.
Especially to your kids.
I guess you testified sometime in February, right?
Yes.
At any point in your relationship with Daniel, did you ever observe him strike Daniela?
Yes.
Explain to the judge how and when that happened.
When we were on our way up here,
When
to
you get
drop
up here,
up to San Antonio, I'm sorry. When we were driving,
Daniela is Daniel's daughter, and unfortunately has that name after him. That didn't really. I believe she testified in the original trial, but we did not get to see or hear any of that, obviously, because she's a little girl. But this is kind of the first time we're hearing that there was abuse towards her, because I think they were saying there wasn't any abuse towards her, but Dominic took the brunt of it, obviously, because he's not here anymore. And I'm sorry that she went through abuse. She lived with her mother. It's not like you were homeless if you didn't stay with him. Like, just stay with your mom. You had a place to go. I'm not blaming her. It's just frustrating listening to this and her doing, just let the stuff go on. It's crazy to me.
up from Miami to San Antonio, he was telling her something. We were already up here in Texas, and he spoke to her, and she didn't respond to him right away. And so he turned around and hit her, punched her with his arm closed.
where did you punch her?
On her legs.
So in the trial, there was evidence from the surveillance video of the hotel,
Yes.
and you saw that.
Yes.
There were multiple times of you and Daniel and the kids leaving the hotel room at all hours of the night, whether that be 10 o'clock at night, midnight, 1 or 2 in the morning. Where were y'all going?
We were going to the car
The car for what?
to smoke
Smoke
weed.
Okay. Where would the kids be when y'all would smoke weed?
They would be in the car, or we would leave them upstairs, and we would leave one of the phones upstairs so that we would be watching them.
And who was smoking weed or marijuana?
It was me and Daniel.
So, talk to me about before you and Daniel became a more, I guess, serious relationship where the introduction of kids was happened, about Fraser, Colorado.
I went to Fraser, Colorado with my friends the year that I met Daniel. No, the year after I met Daniel in January. And I spent like 3 days over there with like 14 friends of mine. It was pretty. I FaceTimed my kids and I showed them the area, the snow.
And so in that FaceTime meeting, that's when you talked to Dominic and you showed him kind of what Colorado looked like and
Yeah.
the snow and all that.
Yes, the mountains and everything.
So at that point in your life, you just testified there was about 14 friends.
Mhm.
So you had a pretty big friend group.
Yes.
During the course of your relationship with Daniel Garcia, did he attempt to isolate you from your friends?
Yes, he did. He attempted to isolate me from my friends, saying that they weren't good enough, that while I was hanging out with them, they wouldn't amount to anything. They were, he used the phrase white trash. And then he also did it with my family.
And so at the time that you met Daniel, were you working?
Yes, I was.
Where were you working at?
I was working as a like a certified dog expert at this place called the Paw Depot. And then shortly after that, I quit and started working as a waitress at California Pizza Kitchen.
What did Daniel say about you working as a waitress?
He didn't like it. He said that it was a very, can't remember the exact words that he said, but he said that he didn't want me working there because of the environment, and the people that work in that environment are usually crappy.
So before you moved to Texas, were you able to save up money?
Yes, I had about a little bit around $10,000 saved up.
Okay.
Holy
And how did you save
crap.
up that money?
It was through the taxes mainly. It was my tax refund, and some of it was from my paycheck.
Okay. So when did Daniel tell you or suggest to you about moving to Texas, and how did that come about?
He had stated that he was in a custody battle and that he was going to get full custody of the kids, and that he wanted to move up here because he knew that his ex-girlfriend wouldn't move down to Florida to be with the kids and to be in their lives. And he said that he was moving up here, and I was in the process of looking to move out of my mom's house, out of the state. And he brought it up. He said, why not come with me? We can get a place, split rent. And it sounded good that he would do that and help me. So
Good morning.
So at this
Morning,
time,
John.
you made the decision to leave Florida to Texas with Daniel,
yes,
and your kids came along.
yes.
At this point, did you still have the $10,000?
No, the first week that I came up here, that those $10,000 were gone by the end of that week.
How did you spend all the $10,000?
It was paying for the hotel rooms and food and marijuana.
10,000?
Oh,
Jesus.
and during that week, we also were going to travel up to Colorado to purchase marijuana, and we got pulled over in Hale County, and some of that money went to bailing us out.
And the money that bailed you out, was that the same money that bailed him out?
Yes,
Drugs are bad, okay?
$2,000 in a week.
That's a lot of dope.
Ha.
So we talked about Avani and that on the way to Costa Rica, she got a spot on her forehead. How did that happen?
he went to give her a shower, and he turned the water. One of the things that he would do as a punishment was getting them in the shower with really cold or really hot water, and he turned the water on really hot, and it burned her forehead.
And that hot water, did it cause a mark on her?
Yes, it bubbled up and scabbed up, and she had a scab on her forehead for a couple months afterwards.
You're past the witness, Your Honor.
So, make sure I've got this straight. The day you took the Bureau, the FBI, to find your child's body in a ravine in Colorado, right after that is the day that you social media, Daniel Garcia, I love you so much, I miss you, I want to be together. You recall that, right? Right?
I do not recall
Oh,
that.
you testified in trial about it. Remember I showed you the WhatsApp? You
You
testified
did.
in trial, right?
Yes, you did.
You recall that, right? Right?
Yes.
Yes. So when you told me just a second ago, I don't recall that, you lied to me, didn't you?
No.
Right? You don't want to make those admissions, do you?
It's not that I don't want to make those admissions, it's that I don't recall it, but you showed me the evidence. Therefore, I know that I did it.
So let me ask you this. So you're in Florida and you first meet Daniel Garcia and you say he beats on your kids, right? In Florida, right?
Yes.
And then you decide on your own to go with Daniel, who you claim beating your kids, and go with him to San Antonio, who've never been before, right?
Correct.
And then I understand you just a little bit ago telling the prosecutor, you know what? And he whooped on the kids on the way to San Antonio. Didn't you just testify to that?
Yes.
Why didn't you get out of the car at the first gas station and say, I've got 10 grand in my pocket, I'm out of here, man? Why didn't you do that?
Because I was very insecure and I thought that I needed his help. He told me that he was going to help me. Therefore, I believed him.
Insecure. That's your testimony. Because you're insecure.
I was insecure,
And
but
so you get
it's
to
not
San Antonio.
testimony.
Is it my understanding that you talk about Daniel supposedly, in your words, hitting your kids in Florida, hitting the kids on the way to San Antonio, and then when your child dies in San Antonio, you decide not to call the police, right?
We decided
Right.
not to call. He told me that.
It's a yes or no. You decided not to call the police, right?
Correct.
And even though you were mad at Daniel, because he supposedly hit your kids in Florida, supposedly hit your kids on the way to San Antonio, you get to San Antonio, causes the death of a child of yours, you're not going to call the police and say, hey, this monster did it. This guy who whipped up on my kids in Florida and on the way to Texas and caused the death, you didn't call the police to tell him that, did you?
I did not.
And then when you get to Costa Rica, you never told anybody, that Daniel caused any injuries to Avani on the way to Costa Rica, did you?
No, I did not.
In fact, when Avani was asked about, hey, where'd that burn come from? My mom had the water too hot in a hotel on the way down to Costa Rica, and that's how I got burned. And you told the Bureau that, didn't you?
Yes, it's
You
true.
admitted to the Bureau that you caused those burn marks to Avani, right?
No,
What?
no. I
So
did
now
not
it's your
cause.
testimony that Daniel caused those burns in the hotel room? With
Yes,
hot water in the tub?
yes. It wasn't
Why
in
don't
the
you lie
tub.
about that?
It was in the shower, and I'm not lying about it.
You recall telling law enforcement that you were the one that had the water too hot, and that's how Avani got hurt, right?
No,
You told law enforcement that you were the one throwing Avani up on the banks of the river, and that's how she got hurt, right?
yes,
Yes, you caused those injuries, right?
no.
Oh, so tell me about this $10,000. How did that get spent? You said on marijuana. How much marijuana did you buy for 10 grand? How many bales of marijuana could you get for 10 grand?
I don't know.
Give me an idea. Give us an idea. How many dime bags of marijuana did you buy?
I have no idea.
Give us an estimate. How much did you smoke it in?
We
3
smoked.
bags, 4 bags?
We would smoke a lot. He wanted. I
Takes
wanted
your
to stop. He wanted to stop,
Come on.
but we kept
How
smoking.
many bags in a day did you buy?
I'm not sure.
Oh, give us an estimate. 20?
No, it was bigger amounts, so I don't
30?
know how much it was.
How many bags? Give us an estimate.
I don't know.
How much would you pay per bag?
About $50.
$50.
Yes.
$50, right?
Yes.
And while the kids are alone upstairs in the hotel room, you're downstairs in the car in the parking lot getting high in those dime bags of marijuana, right?
That's correct.
Right?
Yes.
How much money did you spend on marijuana, do you claim?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
How much money did you spend on bond?
On bond, it was $4,000 for the both of us. So $2,000 each.
And Daniel's mom paid for the hotel, right?
She paid for the hotels and I paid for the hotels as well. So we went half and half on it.
So where's the rest of the 10 grand at that point? San Antonio at the time of death of your child?
It was spent on food.
You claim. Now, when you pled guilty to this judge, you lied to this judge, didn't you?
No,
What?
I pled guilty.
What did you tell this judge? I mean, surely you remember you pled guilty to this judge. You went in front of this judge for sentencing. The judge told you you lied at your plea. I've got to kick this plea agreement out, and you need to stop lying to the judge. You remember her telling you that?
Yes, I remember her telling that. It was about my status, my immigration status.
So now you're admitting you lied to the judge at your plea, right?
It was an accident. I didn't do it on purpose.
I'm sorry. Okay. So you said you're a U.S. citizen, right?
Either citizen or you're not. You know if you are or not. I think, Gabby, that they are going to argue over whether or not he gets life, how much of a sentence he gets. She got 15 years. Does he deserve 15 years? Because they can't pin Dominic's unaliving on either one of them for sure. So I think that's why he's going hard on her now. But that's not his client. Her attorney was up there talking to her before she started testifying.
Does she have to testify?
She does. Yes, that was part of her plea agreement, was to testify at trial, and then I assume to testify here. But yeah, so that I assume that's why he's going so hard on her. That Daniel's attorney is going so hard on her because they're going to argue time that he deserves versus what she's got versus what he's looking at. That's my assumption. But $10,000 in a week, and you cannot say what you spent it on, because he is right. I don't go buy that stuff. I buy food, but I couldn't tell you how much it cost. I couldn't tell you how much a week somebody might go through, but 10 grand in a week of that kind of stuff. Give me a break. And they weren't staying at the Ritz Carlton or whatever that's fancy. So they weren't staying at some fancy hotel that's going to cost them $10,000 for the week. She came up with $4,000 that they spent on bail for them. That's still a ton of money to disappear in a week. It's insane, woman. Yeah, I mean, yes, there was obviously bales and bales and bales of Mary Jane. I mean, it's just everywhere. I think they had to give a trailer. It was like hauling hay back. Hey, Brenda, I think you might be onto something there. A little more, a little harder stuff, because that is a lot of freaking money.
Mm-hmm.
And if I couldn't account for it, I would be upset. Like, there better be something big. And she's either just not coming off with it, and I agree with Brenda, or she just doesn't know. But she doesn't want to say.
Yes, I did.
And for those of you that did not see her sentencing, she was supposed to be sentenced one day. We started watching it. She was not sentenced because she did lie to the judge about her immigration status. She is not a citizen, so they had to cancel that sentencing, and then they had to redo it because they had to figure out what her status was. She is eligible to be removed from the country. I doubt she will be, but she is not a citizen, and I can't exactly remember what her exact status is. I just do know that she was eligible to be removed. That was one of the things that they had to discuss in her sentencing.
And you were not a U.S. citizen, were you?
I am not.
How's that a mistake to tell this judge, I'm a U.S. citizen, when you know you're not a U.S. citizen? How's that a mistake?
I confused the words because I've been in this country for a really long time. Therefore, I messed up. I confused my words.
you do remember the judge telling you you need to stop lying to her at your sentencing, right?
Yes,
Right?
right.
And yet you want us to believe all of these new facts that you just came up with. Is that, do I understand that correctly?
I don't think that they're new facts.
How do you explain all of these facts you just testified to today, yet the day you take the Bureau to find your dead child's body in Colorado, you send social media to Daniel saying, man, I miss you so much, I want to be with you, I love you. How do you explain that?
I was keeping tabs on him because I didn't know if they wanted me to know where he was. He didn't know.
I didn't hear it. Say that again.
I said I was keeping tabs on him because I didn't know if they wanted me to know where he was. If they were to ask me a question and be like, where is Daniel located right now? I wanted to have an answer for him.
So you're setting up Daniel, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Just like you set him up in this trial, and
No, that's not how.
no further questions.
Redirect.
Yes, sir. How long have you been in this country?
I've been in this country since I was 4 years old, so 24 years.
Do you have a residence card or anything like that?
Yes, I do.
And how long have you had that?
I was 19 or 20 when I got it.
And during this time that you were in San Antonio with Daniel, what was the plan as far as looking for employment or anything like that?
I was looking for employment. He was supposed to be looking for employment, but that wasn't happening. Then we were supposed to get a place somewhere that had enough space for everybody because the plan was that he was going to have his kids and I was going to have mine. And that was the plan, to get a big place and to work.
So in the trial, we saw on the video, you guys leave days early before the checkout date.
Yes, that's correct.
Did Daniel start using your phone?
Yes, he did.
Who was he calling on your phone?
He made calls to his mother, and I don't remember specifically if he made calls to Samantha, but I know he was texting her.
Do you see any of his family in the courtroom today?
No.
You don't see his mother in the courtroom?
No.
Have you met her before?
Yes, I have.
And I guess you met her because you stayed at her place?
Yes.
Okay. So when Daniel told you that, well, I guess let's take a step back. When Domenic collapsed in the parking lot and Daniel took him upstairs and Daniel came back down the stairs by himself.
Yes.
All of y'all are seen on video going back up the stairs. What did Daniel say about calling the police?
He said that we should wait because Domenic might be passed out and that if we call the police, they were going to take the kids away.
Darn.
That's what it is.
And that was it. That's why I didn't call the police? Because you're afraid you lose your children?
Yes,
Come
I
on, you were going to Costa Rica. How are you going to explain the death of that child? Didn't you think that would have a little problem with keeping custody of kids, that you lied to everyone about the death of your child?
he had me say certain things after Domenic passed away so that when somebody asked me about the death, I was ready to explain what happened.
And so it's Daniel's fault that you wouldn't admit these things. Do I hear that correct yet again?
Yes, that's correct.
No further questions.
No questions, Judge.
Thank you, Shimmy, step down. Stay quiet next to this.
Stay close, Samantha. That is.
Clink, clink, clink. So it doesn't sound like he has anybody in the courtroom with him. She was looking for his mom and didn't see her. So it doesn't sound like he's got anybody sitting back there on his side.
Status, you remain under the same oath. State, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. And Ms. Bettis, how long or what years were you in a relationship with the defendant, Daniel Garcia?
I was in a relationship with him from January of 2016 to February of 2020.
And in that time, how many children did you have with the defendant?
2.
And what are their names?
Daniela Garcia and Alexander Garcia.
Now, how did you and the defendant meet?
I believe through some dating app at the time.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Through a dating app at the time.
Where were you living when you met the defendant?
I was living at my grandmother's house
And where is that?
here in San Antonio.
At some point, did you move to the state of Florida with the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And when was that?
In 2000, the same year, 2020, I believe it was either the end of February or the beginning of March
Okay. What city were you living in Florida?
in Hialeah.
Okay. So tell the judge about your relationship with Daniel, specifically how, I guess, did he feel about you communicating with friends or with family?
He didn't really like that. I moved over 1,000 miles away from my friends and my family. As our relationship progressed, he became vocal that he didn't like it. He didn't like how close I was with my family, particularly my mother.
How did you know that he didn't like that you were close with your mother?
He would tell me that I need to stop telling her everything in our relationship, that I needed to stop communicating with her daily. And at times he would hide my phone from me or go through my phone without my consent
Hey,
to
Flash,
see what we were talking about.
good to see you.
And when were there times, I guess, so you're talking about you would hide your phone, were there days that you were without a phone and alone at the house?
Yes, there were.
Explain that to the judge and how that happened.
Throughout our relationship, I had expressed to him numerous times that I wasn't happy and that I had wanted to leave. And we would get into altercations about me wanting to leave. And he would take it upon himself to either hide my phone from me or he'd wait until I fell asleep and he would go through my messages, he would go through my email. I would wake up and my phone wouldn't be next to me or wouldn't be on the charger. There were a few times that he would leave me either at his mother's place with nobody else there, or he would leave me in our RV when we ended up living in an RV after that.
Can you
All right, Gabby, make your
explain
comment.
to the court
I
about
know
a
what-
time when you were pregnant with Daniela that
I know exactly what she's going to Gabby, just type
Who's
it
a
in,
trumpet?
Gabby.
Who's
Just
a
type it
trumpet?
in. She's going to say, who just crop dusted the courtroom? I know it, but she says she's treating her husband's shirts. Okie dokie. Oh, there it is. There she is. I knew she Wow. Okay. Oil the doors. WD-40 works great. And we're children. Fun? You know those are
Pardon.
dangerous questions to ask.
Pull my
Oh,
finger.
yeah, I think somebody did.
The defendant punched you.
Yes.
What happened?
We were driving downtown. I was driving, and I didn't take the right exit. And I expressed to him that it was too close. I wasn't going to make it in time. He proceeded to start yelling at me, berating me, telling me that that didn't make sense. And he got mad that in Florida, they don't have turnarounds. So you basically just have to keep driving to the next exit. While I kept driving, I was new there. I didn't know that they didn't have that. I had no idea. He started yelling at me. He was screaming at me. And he was upset that I was wasting his gas and that I was wasting his time. He told me to take the next exit. When I took the next exit, we parked somewhere downtown. And he kept asking me, why I didn't take that exit, why I didn't do what he told me to do. And, between him screaming at me and just, miscommunication, I thought at the time, he got so angry that I was still in the driver's seat and he reached over and he's punched me in my arm. And we were screaming at each other. And then he kept telling me to get out of his vehicle, that it was his vehicle and that he didn't want me in it anymore. At one point, he told me to get out and that he was going to be in the driver's seat. So we switched seats. After that, still, we were arguing and fighting, and he wouldn't let me leave the vehicle after that. As soon as I got in the passenger seat, he locked the doors. He got right at my face. He was screaming at me. He was holding the handle across my body. He wouldn't let me leave. At one point, I did end up opening the door when he had let go, and I ran out. And when I ran out, again, we were downtown. I believe we were by the water. There were a bunch of businesses there. And, I ran away. I ran away from him. And I tried asking for help. And when I asked for help, they just told me to go to one of the businesses down the street and ask for a phone to use. And I did. I went to one of the CVS's or Walgreens, and I called my mother. She didn't answer. I called her 2 or 3 times. She didn't answer. At the time, I don't believe I had a phone with me. It was broken. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I had found myself, I kind of just walked in a circle, actually, from where we had parked. And eventually I saw him sitting there and he was on the phone. He got out when he saw me and he was crying and I was crying. And I went back up to him and he started hugging me and telling me that he was sorry, that it wasn't going to happen again. And then on the drive home, we didn't talk. When I went back to his mother's place in Hialeah, she sat me down. She gave me her telephone number and his stepfather's telephone number. And she told me to never run off in a big city like that again because it's not safe. And that if I needed anything, that I could call them.
So I guess in your communications with his mother, she became aware of this, of what happened to you?
Yes.
Did you see her in the courtroom today?
No.
Hello, Carmen.
And
Morning, Carmen.
Explain to the judge that when he would get angry or upset with you, were there times that he would restrain you?
Yes, that was.
How would that come about?
He would always get me alone in a room, or at least try to. He would lock the door when I would try to get out. When I would try to go towards him to get to the door and open it, he'd push me back. And there were numerous times that he would push me back and he would He'd throw me on the bed. And he would hold me down. And he would get in my face and he'd start screaming at me. There were other times when, if we weren't in a room with a bed, he would put me in the corner and just not let me leave. If we were in the car, same thing. He'd lock the doors and he'd hold it.
So at some point, Daniela was born.
Yes.
And, it's your daughter and also his daughter, right?
Yes.
Could you explain to the judge, was there any conversation from him about how his ideas or beliefs about the fact that you took medication for the birth of Daniela?
He was against it. When we had talked about having Daniela, we had talked about having a, natural birth, no epidural. As it got closer though, and I was in labor, obviously it was my first child. I didn't realize I would be shaking. I didn't realize, what exactly my body was going to go through. It wasn't until probably like the last minute they give you, I think, a certain time frame to get an epidural or take anything for the pain. My mother was present. My family was present. His family was present. And I decided at the last minute that I wanted the epidural. When I did that, they told everybody, to leave the room, give the nurses a minute, let them, do the epidural, and then everybody could come back in. After some time, when everybody else came back in, he wasn't there. He didn't come back until a while later. When he came back, he was visibly upset. He was angry. And then after that, when I was in labor still, he would lean over and tell me that he couldn't believe that I did that and that we didn't talk about it, even though he wasn't the one going through it.
So throughout your relationship with Daniel, did he work?
Sporadically, yes, he did.
He got away.
He couldn't keep a job. He worked in aviation, and he just jumped from job to job. There were multiple times that he was jobless. We would just be living on our own, and he didn't want to work. He didn't show up to work, or he would get fired.
And did he, throughout your relationship, while having a job and while, I guess, looking for a job or not maintaining a job, did he buy marijuana?
Yes, he did.
And how often was that?
Multiple times a day.
How much was he spending?
Anywhere from 60 to maybe 130 a day.
And was that all his money that he was using?
No, it was not.
Whose money was he using?
His mother's money, my mother's money, any money that he made.
So we talked about how he couldn't maintain a job, so he was, I guess, was he looking for jobs at different times?
Off and on.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the times that he was looking for jobs and a drug test would be required. What would he do to try to, I guess, pass those drug tests?
He would buy a fake one online and have it delivered to him.
Like fake what?
It's like a fake urine, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd take it in with him when he would have to go take the drug test.
We will try our best, Don. It's good to see you.
Were there times that you, throughout your relationship, that you and Daniel got into arguments and physical confrontations at his parents' residence?
Yes. Yes.
Could you explain to the judge an incident that happened in the closet?
Yes.
What happened?
I was putting laundry away in the room that we had shared. He was trying to talk to me about something, but I didn't really hear what he was saying, so I wasn't responding. When you walk into the room, the bed's over here. the closet's here, and it's a big closet that opens like that. I was facing away from him. He started questioning me, telling me, hey, pay attention to me. I'm talking to you. And I was like, I don't know what happened. What are you talking about? And I turned around. When I did that, he was coming from the bed closer to me. When he did that, I moved back a little bit into the closet to get away from him. When I did that, I fell backwards onto something in the closet, and on my lower back, it started bleeding a little bit because I had hit something in the closet. When I fell over, I got back up and I ran to the restroom and I cleaned it off, but it left like half a circle on my lower back.
Throughout your relationship, did Daniel express to you that you needed to learn how to defend yourself?
Yes.
And that he knew martial arts or something to that effect?
Yes, he did.
And would he teach you martial arts?
Oh.
Explain to the judge what would happen with regards to martial arts.
There were times when he would come up behind me and he would put me in a chokehold. There was one.
All right, Jody, go get some rest.
No, sweetheart.
I know you need it. So thanks for hopping in.
No worries. Thank you for having me. Night,
You're
Gabby.
welcome.
Night, all.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Flash fan, while we're paused, we watched this trial a couple months ago. She's the mother of the defendant's children, biological children. She got away, so she left. He is on trial. Well, he's been convicted of causing an injury to a child resulting in unaliving. And the woman that was on first in the orange, that was Dominic's mother. And he pretty much just beat Dominic until he wasn't alive anymore. He was 5 years old. He hit him closed fist in the face, broke his jaw, broke his leg, broke some ribs. And the mom in the first trial detailed the abuse a lot. I mean, she had a lot of detail, but she stayed there. Even when he punched him in the face and broke his jaw, and he wasn't allowed to eat pizza that night. Duh, he couldn't. She did. All the rest of them sat there and ate in front of this poor little boy. So, I don't know if you watched the Ruiz trial, same county. That one was in front of Judge Boyd in the same courthouse here. They, very similar to each other about the way they treated their kids. And I totally lost my train of thought, and I'm so sorry. Last week was a very long week of not a lot of sleep for me, so I apologize. But anyway, so he was convicted, or he was found guilty of causing injury to a child resulting in unaliving, and then they moved his remains from Texas to Colorado, so they got in trouble for that. And I think there was one other charge. I don't remember what it was. So she took a plea deal to testify at his trial against him. And then here it is sentencing. She was sentenced to 15 years. And I think that's what we're going to see here is they're going to argue they both were responsible. They don't know who actually did it. And just like in the Ruiz trial, they don't know which parent actually caused the injuries that took Mercedes Lasoya's life. So there was nobody charged with like first degree unaliving. It was the causing injury to a child resulting in this. Now, he's still facing life. Jose Ruiz got life. He deserved every bit of it. Mercedes Lasoya's mother, Katrina Mendoza, she got 45 years. versus this woman getting 15. So both took plea deals to testify against the boyfriends that they say unalive their children. But Katrina Mendoza's sentence was a lot tougher than the lady, Nickolle Aguilar, who was just on the stand. So this woman, like I said, she was with him, had 2 kids with him. She got away. She has the kids. So they are at least safe now. Hopefully that gives you a good understanding. That was not a very good explanation. I apologize.
One time in particular that he did it in front of his mother in his mother's kitchen. She didn't think it was funny. She was telling him to stop doing it. He wouldn't stop. He kept telling her, oh, she needs to defend herself. She needs to figure out how to get out of it. It wasn't until I almost passed out that he finally let go. And she told him, she's like, that's not funny. And then she started speaking to him in Spanish, telling him, a bunch of stuff. And he kind of just laughed it off.
Was he a pet owner during the time of your relationship?
Yeah, yes.
How was he with those dogs?
He was abusive with them too, and he didn't take care of them.
You say abusive to the dogs, how? In what way?
He didn't take them out regularly. So they would make messes either in his mother's house or the RV that we had bought. And when that would happen, we would come home or he would come home and he would be upset that the place would be a mess. Obviously there's, dogs there, there's a mess there, and he had to clean it up. He would hit the dogs.
Hit them how?
He would punch them. He would kick them in their stomach. We had some smaller dogs, we had different dogs throughout the 4 years we were together. And he would pick up the little ones sometimes and throw them across the RV. He would throw them on the floor. And when I would try to say something or intervene, he would either do the same thing to me or he would just curse me out and tell me that they weren't my dogs and that I didn't know anything about taking care of animals and that I shouldn't get involved.
At some point in your relationship with the defendant, Daniel Garcia, did you live in Elmendorf, Texas?
Yes.
Where'd you live?
In an RV park out there.
Who else lived there with you?
I believe at the time it was just me, him, and Daniela, and his 2 dogs.
At any point during that time that you were living in Elmendorf in this RV, did you try to leave?
Yes.
Were you able to?
Yes, it was. Not right away, but
What do you mean by not right away?
again, he wouldn't let me. I had been messaging my mother at that time, and I told her that I had wanted to leave. She didn't live too far from where we were staying, and she had told me that she would come and pick me and Daniela up if we needed to. He went through my phone. He saw the messages, and he told me that I wasn't going to leave, and that whatever, I was upset about or something, that I needed to stay and just work it out, that she didn't need to get involved. She showed up at the RV park, and he and I ended up getting into another altercation. He started again blocking the door, yelling at me. She could hear him from outside screaming at me. So at the time, one of the people that had that was the management at the park came around and he heard what was going on, and he had advised her to, call the police, call authorities. So that's what she did. When that happened, I was finally let outside. When I was let outside, I took our daughter, and he ran outside after us, and I gave Daniela to my mother. When I gave her to my mother, he ran over and he tried pulling her away from her and told her that, you're not going to take her. She belongs here. And, they all saw it. Management, police, they saw it, and they were like, you can't do that. Just let him go. And eventually, ultimately, later that day, I ended up going with my mother back home.
Could you explain to the court a time that you heard Daniel threaten violence towards his mother?
Yes.
What happened?
It was right before I left in 2020, I believe either in January or February. He had contacted his dealer to go buy weed that morning. And before we left, his mother had told him to take out your dogs, go walk them before you leave. He didn't want to. They start arguing upstairs. And, you can hear them from the car. The car's right here. She lives upstairs. I could hear them screaming at each other from downstairs in the car. Ultimately, he didn't end up walking his dogs at all. He came back down. He got in the vehicle in the driver's seat. He was visibly upset, and he was just muttering stuff under his breath. And I was like, what happened? What's going on? And he started calling her, all these derogatory names, saying that he's lucky that he still wasn't in a gang, that he would kill her, that he would shoot her up, her and his stepfather, the person that she was with at the time. And I repeatedly asked, like, what happened? Why are you saying this? Like, what urged this conversation? And he was like, oh, well, she just wants me to take out the dogs. And, I don't want to do it. I'm in a hurry. And I was like, that's not right.
So at some point, you do leave Florida.
Yes.
Can you explain to the judge kind of the event leading up to why you left?
So, again, we got into an altercation. I was in the kitchen at the time, kitchen/living room. And he approached me. He was like, what's wrong? Why do you look sad? Why do you look upset? And I told him, I'm not happy anymore. I don't want to be here. And he started telling me that I couldn't leave, that, if I did leave, I wasn't going to take the kids with me, that they had to stay there with him. And I started, saying stuff back, and I was like, no, that's not going to happen. That's not possible. Right when you when you enter his mother's place and you walk up the stairs, there's a counter, and we were standing by the counter, and he came towards me to kind of hold me back from getting away from him. And when he did that, I ended up putting my hands kind of like up here to push him back. When I did that, he ended up choking me, and I tried to do it back to him, and we kind of got into an altercation that way. And then eventually we kind of separated, and I was crying and he was yelling, and I, told him, can't do this. I'm not doing this anymore. Shortly after that, though, somehow we ended up in the bedroom that we shared. Again, when we entered that bedroom, he closed the door, and he wouldn't let me out. He was screaming at me, telling me that I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving with the kids. That's not possible. If he had to take legal action, he would. You're not taking my kids away from me, and you're not leaving. When that happened, the room's only so small. There's only one door. when, he wouldn't let me out, I tried multiple times going to the door, asking him to move. Hey, please move. I don't want to fight with you. Please move out of the way. I need to get out of the room. I don't want to yell. I don't want to fight. I don't want this to turn into something bigger than it is. He still wouldn't let me. And then he started walking towards me again, trying to corner me into the room. When he did that, there was a window above his bed. I acted like, oh, I'm going to go out the window. I opened it, and he went from the door to the bed. He was like, he shut it. He's like, you're not getting out. You're not going to climb out the window. When he did that, I ran across the room, or ran across the bed, and I tried to open the door with my left arm. When I tried to open the door and I twisted the handle, he came back down. He put his right arm over that arm, and he went like that, and he turned to face me. So he turned that way. When he turned that way, we both heard it crack or pop, however you want to put it. We heard a noise, and my arm it was a pain. After that happened, I fell back, and he turned around, and he's like, oh my God, are you okay? What happened? What happened? When that was going on, we were trying to figure out, what it was exactly. His mom came from the living room with the kids, and she tried opening the door, and he was yelling at her to get out, leave us alone, doesn't concern her. He shut the door in her face. He pushed her out. He shut the door. He came back, and, I was getting up, and I was like, don't touch me. I don't want you to touch me. Get away from me. Let me out of this room. And his mother was standing right outside the door. And she's standing over there, and she's crying. And eventually I get out, and she's like, what happened? What's going on? So after that happened, I started messaging my mother, and I started telling her that I need to leave. At this point, I don't really care how I leave, but I need to leave, and it's not okay that happened.
Did you leave with Alexander and Daniela?
Yes.
Moved here to San Antonio?
Yes.
At some point later, you still maintained contact with defendant Daniel Garcia?
Yes.
Did you learn about Nickolle?
Yeah, eventually, yes.
Did you learn about the fact that she had 2 children at the time, Domenic and Ivani?
Yes.
Did he ever say anything about Domenic and Ivani to you?
Not really, no, not directly.
What would he say?
Just that he met somebody and she had kids and our kids got along with them.
What would he say about his philosophy about physical discipline?
That they didn't parent the same way.
What does that mean to you?
That either one was spanking the kids and one wasn't.
Go past the description.
You made multiple trips to San Antonio, didn't you?
When?
In your lifetime, right? How about before you filed the divorce proceedings in this case? You made multiple trips to San Antonio with the kids, right?
When we were together, yes.
And by yourself, right?
Yes.
And you had your phone with you when you made the multiple trips to San Antonio by yourself, right?
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
In fact, you brought the kids to San Antonio without the divorce court's permission, didn't you?
When I left him?
You brought the kids to San Antonio without the divorce court's permission, didn't you?
We weren't married. But yes, I did without court permission.
Okay, so what do you want to call it? We won't call it a divorce proceeding. What do you want? Custody? Child custody, how's that?
Sure.
Okay, so you brought the kids to San Antonio without the court's permission, didn't you?
Correct.
March of 2020, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then there was a hearing about you leaving the court's jurisdiction without permission. That hearing was March 16th, 2020, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you testified during that hearing, didn't you?
I assume so. I don't remember off the top of my head.
And the judge found you the judge had grave concerns about your credibility, didn't he?
Objection,
Right.
relevance, improper impeachment. Also hearsay.
Overruled.
Right? Oh, come on, you remember the judge had grave concerns about your credibility, right?
Objection, asked and answered.
Yeah, she has to
Lack of personal knowledge also.
She was
I mean,
there.
what I also remember too is that Daniel
Oh,
lied.
man.
No.
Everybody needs to stop talking and let me rule on the objection.
Get him,
The
Judge.
objection is overruled.
The judge found that he had grave concerns about your credibility, didn't he?
I don't remember.
Well, if I showed it to you, would that help you remember?
Yes, it would.
Can I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I believe her too, Adair, but I don't believe that she doesn't remember testifying because not many people would forget
I believe that's
testifying
her
in
credit.
child custody.
Defense file.
We were talking over each other. The state was objecting. Defense kept talking, and then she tried to answer. So I don't know exactly what.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yeah.
So here's the judge's order. And it's from the child custody case, right? You and Daniel Garcia, right?
Yes.
After you testified March 16th, 2020, right?
Yes.
And the judge's order, which is dated March 20th, 2020, correct?
Correct.
The judge, in the judge's order after you testified, said that the judge had grave concerns as to your credibility, right?
Yes. That's what it
And
states.
said that your actions with the children were detrimental to the minor children, correct?
Yes.
And found that your actions were contrary to the best interest of the minor children, right?
Yes.
And then the same day, you and your attorney filed, and the judge set a pickup order. You remember that, right?
Yes.
And you were so concerned about that pickup order that you and your attorney, the same day, March 20th, as that order came out, you and your attorney filed an emergency motion to prevent that pickup order, right?
Yes, we did.
That was March 20th, 2020, right?
Yes.
And in that emergency motion to stop the pickup order, all you said in there was the court lacked jurisdiction for the pickup order and COVID concerns, right?
I believe so. Yes.
All of these stories you've told today, none of them were in that emergency motion on the pickup order. were
No,
they?
but it was talked about.
What?
No, but it was talked about in court.
No, ma'am.
Yes,
It wasn't until April 6th, 2020, that you first came up with these stories about Daniel Garcia, right?
No,
You recall April 6th, 2020?
I don't remember that specific
What?
date. No, I do not remember that specific date.
Okay, do you recall filing an answer in your custody case?
I believe so.
And that was April 6th, 2020, right?
Okay.
You want to see it to remind yourself?
No, thank you.
And that's the first time you've ever said any of these stories, isn't it?
No, it's not the
Okay,
first time.
When did you tell us, when did you first bring that up in this custody case? When did you first bring that up?
I brought it up immediately. I brought it up when they asked me why I left.
If that's the case, why wasn't it in the emergency motion? to
Because
prevent the pickup order?
Because there was no hard evidence, and I couldn't file something if I didn't have hard evidence.
Come on, hard evidence is your affidavit like you would file later on April 6th, right? Come on, right? May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Let me show you your answer on April 6th that was sworn to by you.
I agree. I agree. Flash man, way too aggressive with her. There's a comment up there. What happened with her, I don't think has anything to do with what happened with him and
So
Nickolle.
here's your emergency motion to stay order to pick up minor children. And you recall filing that, right?
Yes.
And you recall that it was filed by you and your attorney on March 20th, 2020, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then in there, nowhere in there, did you say any of these stories you said today, right? Right?
Not that I see, no.
And then, well, I mean, you're free to look through there.
I'm good.
And in here, you've also got the answer and counter petition that you filed, right?
Yes.
And that was on April 6th, 2020, right?
Correct.
Sworn to by you, right?
Correct.
So that's the evidence, right?
Correct.
And the reason they do sworn petitions is because that supplies evidence in a case, right?
Correct.
So you could have done that from the beginning, right?
I spoke to my lawyer about it. Whatever I spoke to my lawyer about didn't ultimately end up in that order.
So let me get this right then. Your testimony today is all these stories that you said about Daniel beating you, beating the dogs, beating everybody. Your employer and you had a conversation and said, you know what? Let's not put that in the emergency pickup order. We don't think that would be helpful. Is that your testimony today?
At the time when that happened, I was advised to not necessarily go into detail about what happened, but at that time there was no hard evidence.
And so why? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, please finish.
Yes. So when I had that motion from him, when he filed something and he went to the court, he lied and he said that I absconded with his children. He said that I left and that I didn't tell him. He knew very well that I left with his children. He went through my phone.
I judge it, now it's not responsible. So why then a week and a half later, on 6th April, did all of a sudden you and your attorney decide, you know what? Let's pivot 180 degrees and I'll make up all these things that Daniel did bad to you and the dog and the children and everyone else.
I didn't make up any of that.
Why all of a sudden do you pivot 180 degrees a week and a half after the judge denies your emergency motion for pickup? Why all of a sudden you decide to pivot 180 degrees a week and a half later on 6 April 2020 and decide to say Daniel's doing all these things?
Because it wasn't being truthful.
Okay, why didn't you put that in the emergency pickup order?
They didn't ask me.
Fine, no further questions.
Just a second, Your Honor.
For purposes of the record, there is no exhibits marked number 5. Mr. Gross simply showed the computer to the witness, and there was nothing marked.
Yeah, I'm fine with him printing it out, Judge, and then supplying it later, if that's fine, unless he wants to enter in his iPad.
I'm sorry, Judge.
There is no exhibit 5. You just went to the witness and showed her your computer. You didn't mark anything. So for purposes of the record, you will have to print those out before we
Will
close
do,
it.
Judge, will do.
I do have a brief redirect, Judge.
Go ahead.
So I don't know who that guy is right there. We're going to see him a little bit later. Not testify, but we're going to see him. I don't know if that is Nickole's brother, if there's a relation to her at all. I don't know who he is. I think the reason that attorney was bringing up that she lied, saying there was no abuse. He's not abusive. So you didn't tell anybody he was abusing you or the kids or anybody. There was no abuse. He's a great guy. He's not abusing anybody. He's here under all false charges, and this is all nuts, and he's being falsely accused, falsely convicted. I think that's where he was trying to go with that. I don't think he got there. Not with me. He was very aggressive to her. I believed her. I didn't believe her when she said she didn't remember testifying because I don't think people just forget that unless you just do it all the time.
So in those custody proceedings, in those custody proceedings, ultimately, were you the person that was typing up responses and filing of motions and petitions?
No, I wasn't. My lawyer.
And were you relying on his advice?
Yes, I was.
And was it he or she who was the ultimate decider about what went in those documents, those court documents?
Yes.
And so who has full custody of Daniela and Alexandra?
I do.
And so do you, in this courtroom right now, who granted that full custody?
The state of Florida.
Is that the same court?
I believe so.
See everybody in the courtroom? Do you see anyone from the defendant's family present in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Who?
His father.
Okay. And he's seated on that side where the defendant's seated?
Yes.
Okay. And so you testified that his mom was a witness to some of the interactions and altercations between you and the defendant?
Yes.
And that happened at her residence?
Yes, it did.
And who does she live with?
She lived with her husband.
Do you see his mother in the courtroom here today?
No.
No question.
Can you sit down? Thank you. All right, I sit there.
State called Luis Lopez this time.
Florida and Texas seem to have that connection there, flashing, trying to outdo each other on the phrases, and throw in Wisconsin in there too.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this cause shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez, could you introduce yourself to the court and spell your last name for the court?
My name's Luis Lopez, Luis Lopez. I work for IC Solutions at the Bexar County Jail.
And how long have you worked for IC Solutions?
10 years, a few months.
And could you explain to the court what IC Solutions is and how it operates?
IC Solutions is a company that provides phone service for jails around the country with recordings and video visitations also.
And are you a custodian of records for IC Solutions?
Yes, sir.
And so one of your job duties is that to testify in court about the authenticity of phone calls that have been made inside the Bexar County Correctional Facility.
Yes, sir.
Did you have an opportunity to pull the jail calls belonging to an individual by the name of Daniel Garcia with a SID number? It's a identification number 1152401.
Yes, sir.
And there was also a question I had for you. Are you able to tell us how many phone calls that particular inmate with his SID number made to another phone number?
Yes.
Okay, so explain to the court kind of how the phone system works in the jail, how someone is able to, who an inmate is able to operate.
Okay, so when they first walk in, they get their SID number. After that, they go into I guess, to that window where they have to enroll into the phone. And at that point, he puts in his SID number, and he provides his own PIN number. Then through voice verification, the inmate is enrolled at that point.
And inmate Daniel Garcia with SID number 1152401, did he enroll in ICS Solutions?
Yes, sir.
Did he also have a person enrolled, or I guess as a caller or a receiver by the name of Arlen Acosta?
Arlen Acosta, believe so, yes.
Okay, let me ask you, I'm trying to pull up my notes. May I approach the screen, Judge? Are you able to tell this court how many times that SID number called the number 305-505-5049?
The phone number, no, I do not have that particular, the 305 number.
Okay.
It was a 904 number.
Oh, 904. Then that's this one right there.
Yes.
Okay. Did you recognize this?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
Those are recordings from, that was recorded from our system.
Okay. And did you have an opportunity to listen to this?
Yes, sir.
Who is the person that, I guess, what SID number made those calls?
115-2401.
Okay. And there are 3 different calls on there. Do you know the dates of those calls?
Yeah, the one was on August the 5th, 2024. The other one's on June 12th, 2024. And then May 27th, 2024.
Okay. And are these a true and correct copy of those jail calls that are in your records?
Yes, sir.
Do they appear to be tampered with or altered with in any way?
I did not know.
Okay.
What's the exhibit number?
State's Exhibit 83. Statement tampered with in Marcus Exhibit number 83.
Any objection?
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. No objections.
State's 83 is admitted.
Jail calls. See how smart this fella is.
We have no questions, John.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Will you step down?
Thank you very much.
Because we're not considering jail calls. Maybe he just had introduced.
Silvia Acevedo.
Hope we get to hear some jail calls.
James, the interpreter?
Yes.
The interpreter, could please state his name for the record.
Your Honor, the interpreter's name is Jorge Valle.
Do you remain under the same oath, Mr. Valle?
And while awaiting Judge State, asked this court to take judicial notice of the file, to take judicial notice of all the evidence that was presented in the guilty innocence case.
Yes.
Judge, we object to that and we review all our previous objections.
This is Nicole's mom. I really like this Nicole.
For the record, we have Silvia Acevedo on the staff. We're going to ask the interpreter to please admonish her. Remember to answer in Spanish and wait for the full translation.
¿Me puede escuchar ahora?
She remains under the same oath.
Sorry?
She remains under the same oath.
Usted todavía está bajo el juramento.
That you may proceed.
Fiscalía puede proceder.
Ms. Acevedo,
Señorita Isabel,
can you tell the court when was the first time you met Daniel?
¿cuándo fue la primera vez que usted conoció a Daniel?
Creo que fue como a principios de año.
I think it was at the beginning of the year.
And how did you meet him?
¿Cómo fue que la conoció?
Nicole lo llevó a la casa. Nicole lo llevó a la casa.
Nicole took them to the house.
At some point in April of that year that you met Daniel, were Alexander and Daniela swimming at your pool at your apartment?
Sí,
Yes.
Was Dominic there also?
sí.
Yes.
What happened that day?
Domenic escupió a Daniela.
Dominic spit on Daniela.
And
Después,
after that, what happened?
Después de eso, ¿qué pasó?
se los llevaron a la casa donde Daniel
They took them to the house, Daniel's house,
por toda una semana.
for a whole week.
And who stayed over there?
¿Y quién se quedó ahí?
¿Quién se quedó dónde?
Who
At
stayed
Daniel's
where?
house.
En la casa de Daniel.
No tengo idea porque no conocía a nadie de ellos.
I don't have any idea because I did not know any of them.
Did Dominic stay at Daniel's house?
Dominic se quedó en la casa de Daniel.
Sí,
Yes,
What
y su
about the
hermana.
mom?
and his sister.
Okay. And then at some point, did Dominic come back to your house?
A su casa.
Sí,
Yes,
Did Dominic
Dominic.
tell you anything that happened
Algo que había
at
pasado
Daniel's house?
en la casa de Daniel.
sí.
Yes,
What happened?
Thanks.
Me dijo que le pegó duro en la pancita.
he told him that he hit him really hard in his small stomach.
At any point
En algún momento,
when
cuando
Daniel
Daniel
was living with,
estaba viviendo con
or living in Florida,
en Florida,
did you ever hear or see him
vio que él
hit
le
Iván?
pegaron a Iván.
Sí,
Yes,
Tell me what happened.
dígame qué pasó.
ese día los niños estaban jugando.
That day the children were playing.
Ivani lastimó a Dominic con un palo.
Ivani hurt Dominic with a stick.
Nicole no estaba en la casa,
Nicole was not there at the house.
estaban conmigo los niños.
The children were with me.
Cuando Nicole regresó a la casa, vino con Daniel.
They came back. When Nicole came back to the house, she came with Daniel.
Ya le había dicho yo a Nicole que los niños sabían que había pasado eso.
I had already told Nicole that the children that had happened with the children,
Y ya habíamos hablado con los niños.
and we had already spoken to the children.
Yo estaba en la cocina,
I was in the kitchen.
ellos estaban en el cuarto, los cuatro,
They were in the room, all four of them,
y yo escuché que sonó algo.
and I heard that something sounded. There was a sound.
Solo me quedé escuchando porque era algo como que le pegaron a alguien, pero nadie lloró nunca.
I kept listening because it was sounding like somebody hit somebody, but nobody cried. Never.
Yo corrí para el cuarto,
I ran towards the room.
abrí la puerta,
I opened the door.
Nicole estaba así parada,
Nicole was standing like this.
Dominic a la par con soldados.
Dominic was standing at her side like soldiers.
Daniel estaba sentado,
Daniel was sitting.
estaba agarrando a Ivani así y le tapó la boca.
He was grabbing Ivani like this, and he was holding his mouth, his hand over his mouth, or her mouth.
Yo solo vi a Ivani las lágrimas que le corrían
I just saw Ivani, the tears were streaming down her face,
y yo le dije a los niños que salieran de ahí y que se fueran para mi cuarto.
and I told the children to get out of there and go to my room.
Luego tuvimos una discusión con él,
Then we had an argument with him,
William y yo, con
William and
él,
I, and he.
y después él le dijo a William
And after that, he told William
que si nosotros no estábamos, que quién los iba a defender.
that if we were not there, who was going to defend them?
No sé qué más pasó, él se fue.
I don't know what else happened. He left.
Ms. Acevedo, can you tell the court
puede decirle al juez.
what was Dominic like?
¿Cómo era Dominic?
Era un chiquito muy dulce,
He was a really sweet kid,
como todos los niños que juegan,
like every children that play.
y siempre abría la refrigeradora con su hermanita y comían lo que querían.
And he always opened the refrigerator with his little sister, and they ate what they wanted.
Me decía nena,
He would call me Nena,
y yo le decía,
and I would tell him,
deme los 5, y él hacía así, 5 nena,
give me
5,
5, and he would say,
porque él no
5,
hablaba,
Nena, 5,
él no hablaba muy bien español,
because he could not speak Spanish very well.
pero él es todavía sigue siendo en mi corazón. ¿Por qué?
But I can still feel him in my heart because
Es que parece que fue ayer esto.
it seemed like it was just like this thing that happened.
Como un chiquito de 5 años puede hacerle daño a una persona.
How can a 5-year-old do damage to an adult person?
Nosotros le abrimos el corazón a este muchacho y
We
él
opened this heart.
no lo hizo bien.
We opened our hearts to this young man, and he did not do it well.
Y ahora Domenic no está con nosotros.
And now Domenic is no longer with us.
Can you tell the court about a trip that you took with Dominic to Disney World?
Fue unas semanas antes de eso.
It was a few weeks before this.
Fue un viaje familiar.
It was a family trip.
Fuimos Nicole,
Nicole went,
Domenic,
Ivani,
William y yo.
William and I.
Nunca habíamos tenido un paseo así porque
We never had
por la pandemia.
a trip like that because of the pandemic.
Entonces encontramos unas tiquetes para Disney
So
muy
then
cómodos,
we found some tickets for Disney that were well priced.
pero jamás creía yo que ese iba a ser el último paseo con él.
But I never thought this was going to be the last trip with him.
Es curioso porque yo le decía, Domenic, una foto. Ivani, venga, una foto.
It's curious because I would say, Domenic, a photo, Ivani, a photo.
Y solo él se ponía para la foto.
And only he would stand for the photo.
Por eso tengo tantas fotos de él.
That's why I have so many pictures of him.
Judge objection.
Narrativa.
Showing what's been marked as State's Exhibit 84. Do you recognize this?
Sí, esa es mi letra.
Yes, that's my handwriting.
Did you have an opportunity to watch this disc?
Sí.
Yes.
What's on the disc?
Son 2 videos.
It's 2 videos.
Uno donde está Domenic y Ivani
One where Domenic and Ivani are on it,
diciendo lo mucho que ellos aman a su mamá.
saying how much they love their mom.
Y el otro fue un video que tomamos en Disney,
And the other was a video we shot at Disney,
donde ellos solo estaban jugando.
where you show them playing.
And is this the true and correct copy of what you saw in the DA's office today?
Yo misma hice esos videos.
I myself made these videos.
State moves to admit what's been marked as State's Exhibit 84 into evidence.
Any objections to Statement 84?
Or was that comment for me? I don't know what they're going to do. Right now, it's ice and heat in a recliner.
Judge, we can take a quick break.
No.
No.
Any objection?
Yes, we have objections.
What is the legal objection?
3707 hearsay, Judge.
Overruled.
Judge is not messing around.
Proof and published.
State's 84 is admitted.
Permission published.
I think these are going to be videos of Dominic and his little sister or older sister. I don't remember if she was younger or older than him.
From State's Exhibit 84, Judge, the state will play file IMG-3249. Where was that video taken?
Eso fue en Orlando,
This was in Orlando,
los parques de Disney.
at the Disney parks.
And this time, Judge, state will play State's Exhibit 84, file IMG-3518.
Show mommy what are you doing?
Dr. Dad, pussy.
Do you have any other questions?
And just pass the witness.
Cross examination.
No tenemos preguntas.
Manually step down.
Señora, usted se puede retirar.
Flashman, I don't know who that man is in relation. I don't know if that's her brother and that woman's son, Nicole's brother, and would have been Dominic's uncle. I'm not sure who that was, but somebody that, yeah, emotions just happen. Somebody that was, it almost made me cry just watching his emotions come out. Watching those videos of Dominic just gave me chills. But yeah, those videos were just too much for him to watch because he's gone and he was so happy. I don't know what you saw, what you didn't. So they were playing videos from this woman on the stand. That's her mom. It's Nicole's mom. She had taken the kids, her grandkids, to Disney, and she had video of them, and they were just having a good time. They were, sending video to their mother, Nicole, telling her how much they loved her and just being silly, just being kids. And the guy that was sitting there, like I said, I don't know if that is those kids' uncle, if that's Nicole's brother, if that's this woman's son. I don't know. He just couldn't take it anymore. And he just jumped up. He did not jump over the defense table. Had nobody been in his path, he was going to the defense table. And wouldn't have cared to see him get to the defense table, to be quite honest with you. He wouldn't have hurt my feelings at all. I feel bad for him. Oh yeah, they've been standing in the row, the aisleway right there the whole time. So there's not a lot of people sitting on either side, I don't think. I think Daniel's dad is sitting on his side behind him, and then whoever this guy was sitting there, and then they invoked the rule. So she's had to be out of the courtroom until she testified, so she should be back in the courtroom now. But yeah, they were standing there, and that was rough. And they played that for emotion. I don't blame them. It showed, unfortunately, it showed he was still happy and loved his mom, even though they were in a really crappy situation already. So I think they're going to take a break.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, stick around.
There's a Zoom witness.
Oh, thank you.
What up, Dill?
Let's go off the record. Do you need to do your own Zoom from upstairs? Would you prefer to do it down here?
It would be better if I did it upstairs.
Oh, yes.
Do you have the function?
Yes.
Yes.
Go and my coordinator will email you the Zoom link so you can just click on it.
Yes, sir.
and
Thank
I'll
you.
set it up.
We're in the courtroom now. She testified. I don't know.
My next witness, is that the Zoom?
Yes, Your
witness? Okay, we're gonna take a 10-minute break so I can set up the Zoom and then we're gonna keep going.
And we all know 10 minutes in court is 20 minutes in real life. Just kidding. This judge is on it. So, on Andres Tarnava trial that we watched a month or so ago took place in this courtroom. Different judge, though. His sentencing is coming up here at the end of the week or sometime later this week, too. So we will cover that and send all our Texas convicts off to prison. I'm sure he's not going to ever get out either. Hey, you think I didn't stream for a week? Yeah, I didn't stream. Dang it, stop talking. I could not stream last week. And I'm like, there's two like awesome trials, interesting trials on. You had the Fear Thy Neighbor trial, and then this one. They were in court on Saturday, which is crazy. But I guess that's not uncommon in Tennessee. The guy in the white, I don't if that's who you mean, Flashman, I don't know. I missed it. I don't know what I said. I don't know what I said. That was good. Okay. Oh, Andre, I can't think of what his name was. Tarnava is his last name. He was found guilty of unaliving this woman who he thought stole from him and stole from some of his dad's stuff who had passed away, like his war stuff. So he allegedly used a I hate these freaking words. Used a pew pew and pow-powed her, and then took her apart and put her in a burn barrel and burned her. And that they didn't find much of her, but just enough to connect him to the burn barrel and where she was at. Yeah, well, I'm out of sorts today. I didn't watch any of it. I didn't really watch anything last week except nothing. I did nothing. Hello, Grandma. How are you? But yes, I was so upset. I'm like, of course, there's two great trials this week, and I cannot stream. I could have just turned it on, and it's been like, I'll see you guys later. He definitely very sick in the head, Flash fan. Hot temper on him. Told other people about it, but they were scared of him. So they didn't really say anything about it. Yeah, and then when I kind of went back to look to see why they were in this courtroom but didn't have this judge, he had filed all kinds of stuff against this judge. So I would say she just had to back out of it. They had a special judge come in. I really liked him. We all really liked him. He did a very good job. He was funny. So that was a very quick trial. Did not take long at all. Verdict didn't take long at all. Thank you. I'm here. So I go to the doctor tomorrow, and so we can kind of see what's going on, what is causing all my nerve pain. But I have x-rays done already because I actually ended up in the emergency room Wednesday because we weren't sure that I didn't have a blood clot in my leg, so I didn't. But so x-rays weren't like bad, they weren't great. So I need to get an MRI, which I'm hoping they will order tomorrow, and we can go from there and see if I have done something stupid to one of the discs in my back. It was not a 44-hour verdict. It was a forced break, Grandma. Very much a forced break. But I'm glad to be back. I'm sitting on ice again. just keep it between ice and heat. All right. Let's see who this dude is. Oh, duh. See, this is what happens when I kept hitting pause. All righty.
And while
I don't blame
he was coming with Nicole and Amani, so they came to my house. And they had their belongings, and they also had a dog.
And Mr. Aguilar, you live in Costa Rica?
Es correcto.
That is correct. I live in Alajuela, Costa Rica.
Did you ever get the chance to meet Domenic while he was alive?
Sí.
Yes. Since he was born, since when Nicole was pregnant, when he was born, and I was with him when he was about 2 years, 2.5 years old. That's when I came back to Costa Rica.
And tell me, when you first met Daniel, was Avani there?
Correcto.
Correct.
What did you notice about Avani?
Ella venía con una
She had
marca en la
a
frente.
mark on the forehead, like a burn,
Como cuando uno se quema y
like when one burns itself and there's a blister and the blister pops. She had a mark like that. And she also had her mistreated when she walked. It looked like she was hurting. She had also scratches, but that was the worst part of it, the blister.
Explain again what you meant by her walk.
Cuando caminaba,
When she walks, it looked like she, like it looked like it hurt some when she was walking. She looked like she was mistreated. That's the way it looked like. It was like
sí, como que si estuviera maltratada.
it was very badly mistreated when she walked. It hurt.
So at the time that you met Daniel, Dominic was missing. What or how would Daniel refer to Dominic?
Siempre, desde que llegaron,
They got here, we sat down to talk what had happened. And the one that most spoke about was Nicole, like when Daniel spoke about Dominic. He referred to us like the El Nene, like the baby. He referred to her as in a bad way. I always felt it was in a bad way.
So explain to the court, what was Daniel's demeanor like when he was in Costa Rica?
A mí me puso muy nervioso
I got very nervous
cuando empezaron a explicar.
when they started to explain. Well,
Yo me senté al frente de
I
Nicole
sat in front of Nicole
y Daniel se sentó
and Daniel sat
como detrás de
like
mí,
behind me,
como
and
Nicole me estaba
like Nicole was speaking to me, like he was behind me. And then I felt uncomfortable. And the next day,
él salió en la mañana a la
went out in
ferretería
the morning to the hardware store and he bought a machete. So I was very worried. He would hit the dog with the fist and would scream at him very ugly. And
yo veía
I saw that Nicole and
Giovanni
Ivani, that they were
como que ellas se sostenían.
like they were holding back.
Ellas no
They did not. They're free to speak.
ellos cuidaban lo que decían.
They were careful with what they said.
Recuerdo
I recall
un momento
at one moment
que
that
estábamos
we were
pasando un poquito bien,
Well,
entonces nos
well, having a good time, so we laughed a little bit. I don't recall what happened.
y
And
Giovanni,
Melanie,
ella llegó y
she came over and we became like sad. And then I asked her, is that nice talking about Dominic? And that's what he told me.
Era un ambiente muy feo, esos
It was a,
4 días.
like a bad environment. It was like for 4 days. It was like a very heavy environment.
Yo estaba muy preocupado.
I was very worried. As a matter of fact, the days they spent there, I did not sleep. I kept my shoes on because
Yo sentía,
I felt that,
yo sentía que
you felt that I didn't want something would happen if
si él
he
se sentía como
felt like around, something like that.
todos los 3 o 4 días que estuvimos
The 3 or 4 days we were there, I felt completely
estábamos hablando,
like after we were talking, like everything happened.
Hold on,
We felt
Mr.
like we felt like we were kidnapped.
hold on. State, ask a question.
Thank you. At some point, Daniel gets arrested in Costa Rica. What was his demeanor like after he got arrested?
sí. En el momento que lo
At the
arrestaron,
moment he was arrested, he tried to go into the house.
yo a él
I
le había dicho que
had told him that
a la policía
when the police started coming, I made a bit, they were mechanics, and they had some cars plates, so he came out first. And when he came out first, I closed the door behind him, and he turned out and started talking about trying to get it and open the door. And he broke the door a little bit, but I held it. And then the police came over and got him. He fought a little bit there, but then afterwards, the police held him down.
Después de eso,
Wait for
After
a
that,
question.
when
Wait for a question.
perdón,
So after he was arrested, at some point he came back to your house. What happened at that time?
él regresó a la casa
he came back to the house very, very late afterwards. That was very late in the evening, and he started to talk to Nicole.
exigir que
He
quería hablar.
was demanded that he wanted to speak to Nicole,
Yo no quería.
and I did not want to. But I let them speak a little bit. He wanted that Nickolle leave with him because Nickolle was pregnant with his daughter. And I did not want them to leave. So I pulled Nickolle forcefully and I put her inside forcefully and I closed the door. And then he started banging on the door again. And I told him that I was that he was trespassing, so he calmed down and he left.
Do you miss Dominic?
Yes, of course, a lot. A lot.
Pass the witness, Judge.
There's no question, Your Honor.
Anything else from this witness?
That would have victim impact from this witness, Judge.
Okay, you can stay on until we're ready for that. Call your next witness.
And at this time, Judge,
Okay.
the state would play State's Exhibit 83, which are the jail calls.
How many are
Sí,
there?
señor. Gracias.
Okay,
But it's portions of it.
you may proceed.
Oh, do we have to mute the witness, Judge?
On the card, you can.
Oh.
Oh, darn, I thought he was going to play jail calls now. Maybe he is. Maybe he's just switching the disc. I have to hand it to him. He can use tech. He needs to teach other lawyers.
At this time, Judge, State's claim, State's Exhibit 83, on that file, or on that disk, there's 3 files, and the state will commence by playing a file dated May 27, 2024.
Press 1 for English. Oprima el 2.
And I'll skip to 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the counter.
Sharing with me, do you know what else is going to happen in the next 2 days?
I know the state finishes their case in chief tomorrow. And then we come up, and my lawyer did their case in chief. Then it's they figure out the roles of the jury, the deliberations, closing arguments, and then the jury deliberates.
All right, man. I'll be honest, I'm more optimistic about it now than I was when things were getting started. But before the trial, I think your lawyers are pretty solid.
Well, see, man, the jury was kind of pissed when they started.
Yeah, that's the thing. From the videos, I wasn't able to gather that kind of information because it was all either on the person on the stand or the camera was on you a lot of the time.
Yeah,
You're able to keep a straight face, man. I'll give you that.
I mean, man, it's been, almost 2 years of fucking lying. So, at some point you just go with it, The hard shit was, hearing Daniel Garcia, but apart from that.
I think that might be the only witness. I think because she's a minor, they weren't able to broadcast that. So I haven't seen that bit, but basically they went on to basically saying it will, it'll return shortly, and they didn't show that part. So the only information I have, yeah. The only information I have about that was your dad telling me about it. But I didn't see that part. Other than that, I've seen everything. I've been trying to keep on top of it, and I'm rooting for you.
Appreciate it, bro. Can you tell us that you're gonna testify?
What was that? Oh my God. Dude, the beginning of day 2 was brutal. Your lawyers are ripping into her story, man.
Oh, she's bullshit, bro. She's changed her story.
God, absolutely. And one thing I can say, your story can stay the same. From my knowledge of it, you stayed in the same story, the same chain of events from 30 years up until now, you know?
That's what happened to you in that line, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But the jury gonna come down confusing, you know?
Yeah,
At the end of the day, okay, for the jury has to be objective. You know, they have to go based on what the law says. Are they gonna do it? Who knows, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been discussing it with people. I've been discussing it with Michaela, obviously, and she kind of agrees with me that they don't have anything that like pins you at the right hand. Like there's nothing that the prosecution has presented saying that you did like what they're alleging, you know.
So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's waiting to come down to how the jury feels. So that's
Yeah. Well,
my lawyers tomorrow, they get their ATM month.
Yeah.
My lawyer,
now. I miss you, man. I love you.
I miss you too, man. I love you too, man.
Are they gonna call you to stand or no?
I'm not sure. They haven't asked me yet.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, I was talking with I think maybe the secretary for your lawyer, and yeah. Well, she was just basically asking me about you, about your about living in you, about you as a father, and I answered all the questions truthfully, and she said if anything, after jury deliberations, if worse happens, she asked me if I'd be willing to fight over to San Antonio to take a charge or witness in front of the judge. I said absolutely not.
I appreciate you, man. Hopefully that doesn't come down to that, man. Working real hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I wish would have made it, and didn't make it, but what are you gonna do?
Okay. Like what if you can't say? Like what if you can't say?
Like, whatchamacallit, like when they interviewed Daniela, they asked her if she'd ever seen any blues, and she said no. As a matter of fact, she said she doesn't remember anything in San Antonio. She never saw me hit him in San Antonio, none of that shit. So.
Right.
But none of that made it to the trial. Like, I wanted the jury to hear that, you know? She's obviously being coached, you know? By Samantha's mom, so. Because Samantha's mom and Nicole's mom talk to each other.
Yeah, I've seen some suggesting that.
Yeah, that's bullshit. What are you gonna do from it? Yeah, shit like that, you know?
I stopped at 8:34. Fast forward to 12:30. Or no, before 12:30. 12:18.
Basically, like the same thing that they're charging you with, like, and she's the mother. You know, she's responsible for that kid. Then I don't see how, but anybody, I don't see how they could give her more than you. I don't see how they could give you more than her.
Do I have it tomorrow? Yeah. I think everything's gonna be good. And then just go from there.
Yeah.
There's really no
Yeah.
two ways.
I've been pretty anxious this weekend. It's been on my mental state. Yeah. Yeah, no, from talking to him a little bit, talking to my mom. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, it's a motherfucker, man. Very, you know.
I know.
You got a good chick, take care of her, man, because some of these girls are throwing up. Yeah. Shit, I'm dead, that's it. Sometimes you don't know until you know, nigga, you know.
Yeah. Jeez, man.
Yeah, boy. It's a crazy world out here. The crazier motherfuckers are the prosecutors. These motherfuckers really gave her 15 years.
Yeah. That was a plea bargain.
Mm-hmm. The dude's got like a hard on for me, so. He really does. He's the prosecutor, the short one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got a hard on for me. I don't know what the hell.
I don't remember his name. I know you're what is it, Michael Gross, that guy?
Yeah, that's the main dude.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he has he drilled Nickolle. He was drilling Nickolle on the crime.
Stopping at 1434. Going to the next clip at June 12th, 2024.
I don't know what trial those guys were watching. I didn't have any question in my mind for people
Fast forward
involved.
to 655.
If you're wanting to ask me any of that information, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, no.
I'm trying to do anything that I can, man.
¿Ya salió este tipo de la noche? Después el viejo soy yo, pero yo estoy en el teléfono, ¿sabes tú? Después el viejo soy yo. Después del lío ahí, pero estoy en el teléfono, sí, they're trying to get me on the fucking line, and that's what I'm dead. Hey, man, estamos on the phone, I'm like, so you should go in front of me. You're behind me, like, nah, I was next up, man. You're fucking crazy. I know what next, I'm next.
Oh, man.
Okay, man. Nice. Trial definitely looked like it. It was crazy that this fucking DA was trying to blame me for shit, and she got on the stand and she fucking like owned up to it that it was her, and she's still trying to blame me for it, nigga. I was like, oh, what the fuck? I didn't even know about that shit until trial. I'm on the phone. Where was that to me? That shit blew my mind back. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, you're still harping on that. Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That shit, I don't know. What you think about this trial? Overall. Because I'm looking at it from my point of view. My point of view is always going to be these motherfuckers there.
I'm looking at it the entire time because the idea is innocent until proven guilty. And I mean, they were deliberating for a few hours, like 3 hours, something like that. Like
2.5 hours, yeah.
Yeah. So I think there were at least a couple people in that jury pool that were of the opinion that they had to prove that you had done, you know? And I do think that's personal, like this, but I think that there were some other people that were maybe like a little bit more obstinate, a little bit more like hard-headed, and Harvard is honestly like, all right, I think this is, ultimately it is a little bit like a battle of wills, so like who's willing to stay there longer.
No, I get it. Your deliberation. Like, what do you think about the trial, the state? What's your opinion of it?
I think your lawyers actually did a pretty good job for the most part.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I felt like at the end it was kind of rushed on when it came down to the defense side.
One thing that I was a little confused about, I thought defense always got to speak last.
No, I don't know. They always give the fucking statement last word.
Really? Damn. Yeah, because they did a statement, then it was your lawyer's statement, and then it went back to the state. I'm like, I don't think it's very fair, in my opinion. It is like the last thing that stays in their mind.
Well, they get to review whatever arguments you make for closing, and they get to get their spiel and then, counter whatever the fuck you said.
Gotcha.
But, I don't know, man. Trial is generally not geared towards the defense, right? It's geared towards the state, to help the state as much as possible. It is what it is, It's just, it's weird. But it definitely blew my mind. Like, some of the shit I saw there, I was like, that didn't fair. The legal system's kind of bootleg when it comes to certain shit.
Stopping at 11:32. And the final clip is from August 5th of 2024. Gonna play that.
The time is.
Fast forward to 4 minutes, 51 seconds.
Especially full-time job issues like no more online games, that's for sure.
That reminds me, I wanted to ask you, when you get out, would you be interested in trucking at all?
That's actually what I'm going to do when I get out. I'm going to get my CDL over there in Florida.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I recommend it. I like my job. I do, and a lot of it is, you don't really feel like you have a boss most of the time. Like, I have very limited interactions with my boss, and that's something that I just love about my job.
Well, I like traveling, right? So I want to do the cross-country shit, and I heard it pays better. But it depends how I get out. Like, if I parole out, I'm going to have to stay local. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We're going to need to stay on parole, probation, and be like that. But yeah, just get the experience and just fucking. Did they let you have a dog with you in your truck, or?
Some companies really do, yeah.
That's what I want to do, bro. Give you a dog.
Some companies will. I've seen all sorts of, there's some, especially months travel stations, they have like little dog parks and shit.
Yeah. Well, you have to drive for 10 hours and then you have to take a break, right?
You can drive up to 11 hours in one day, and you can drive from, let's say you start your day, from your start time, you have up to 14 hours. So you can go by yourself, but it has to be within that 14-hour window. Then 14 hours, and then 10-hour rest.
Oh, okay, so yeah, I guess we kind of like walk the dog, get it out the fucking truck, shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now with this conviction is like, I'm a forever issue, so I'm going to get my second memory restored.
Yeah, but when I was going through my email class, there were people over there that they'd already gotten set up with a company and they had a criminal record. A lot of companies, I know, for example, PAM, they'll take people with records and stuff like that.
I'm pretty sure I can get this one expunged, because you get one expungement for your life.
Okay.
But I'm actually want to travel, man. I'll travel out of Miami or wherever the fuck, then save up money. So I get,
I think you might love it, man.
I'll find me some white girl there. White girl. There you go. Right underneath Michigan.
Underneath Michigan is Ohio. What are you talking about?
Underneath Michigan. Not Ohio, because I had a cellmate that was from Michigan.
Indiana?
No shit right now. He He was like, this fucking. Oh, man, yeah. The fucking, the wheat bells and shit, or whatever, the mid, fucking cold-frame white girl. Indiana, man, Indiana is a cornfield. And not like Indiana. I'm actually thinking about moving to Kentucky. I like Kentucky. Yeah. Bourbon Trail, that's it, and just mountains. I love that shit. Yeah. One of the things I want to do is go to walk the Appalachian Trail. Oh my God, Michaela is obsessed with that shit. Yeah, I heard she wants to do it. She wants. Oh, that's right. It's like what? It's like a week long shit or something like that. A week. No, it's over 2,000 miles. It takes people it's 4 to 6 months. Come on, you about that thing? All right, bro, maybe I told her, you gotta get I have to either be in between jobs or retire to do that shit. Well, you definitely have to be in between jobs here. Not only that, but there's all the fucking prep work that goes into that. You gotta have money saved up, and you gotta be fucking ready just in case. You gotta eat. I didn't know it was like 4 months. I actually do it in a couple weeks. But I guess the stories I read, they had people meeting them up at certain points. Yeah. I've learned so much stuff about the Appalachian Trail because of Michaela. Like there's people you walking and shit there's people who run that shit. They won't even carry the pack. They'll have people stationed throughout the trail, and you're just running. You're just running like the entire. Yeah. Right over 2,000. It's insane. I told her, I'm like, man, how about we do a week trip, okay? How about we start 5 7 days, then maybe we consider 2,000 freaking miles. You gotta think about it. You gotta worry about the boat there. What's the fucking word? Okay. You gotta worry about the Moses. I heard this, the motherfuckers in the trail. Yeah. But you definitely have somebody waiting for you. You definitely want to have somebody waiting for you to fucking end the trail, Oh yeah. I'm gonna fucking do it, man. I don't want to walk by myself, but that's part of the reason why I want the dog, Oh, that'd be a lot of fun with a dog, yeah. But, fuck it, your wife wants to do it, come on. What's up? Come on. Okay. You say you go out, right on, man. No, I have a lot of hiking here, man. You're no longer to use it. Shit, motherfucker, you feel me? I go by myself. You gotta take people with you, man. I think if you're walking 4 or 5 months, that's a good, don't bring around no bears. Oh, yeah. You want to take bear spray or something. You want to have your dog on this bring a fucking gun and everything. Yeah. If that's my need, I can't take no gun, you get me? No. I think black bears are scared to death. When black bears are scared to death, I run into a bear and I'm a woman at a teenage. You just yell at them and they go, you run into fucking crazy mama and her cousin. Did I tell you during my wedding? My wedding was over there in Tennessee. We had a few weddings left.
State rights, Judge.
Defense, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
You're both ready to close and argue?
Yes, ma'am, brief moment to discuss with me.
Again, I don't know what trial his friend was watching. It's pretty obvious that he was involved. And it makes me wonder about his friend. Are you just as weird?
Defense, you may proceed.
And by the way, it didn't hurt my feelings that the guy didn't like Indiana. I don't care. I don't want him in my state anyway. And we are The slogan is, there's more than corn in Indiana, because there is. Not much, but there's a little. It was so weird. Like, do you understand who you're talking to? Somebody that unalived a 5-year-old boy in a horrible way, and you're just like, oh, I can't wait till like we get stuff. Whatever. Sorry. I'm not a huge Indiana fan either, but there used to be a commercial about there is more than corn in Indiana. Iowa has way more corn. Just saying. All right, let's finish this up. Doesn't surprise me that the defense again did not call any. Well, I guess they called one witness during his trial. That one expert that was the expert for all this judge's trials, or this defense attorney, the white-haired defense attorney's trials. He has an expert that he brings along with him. Apparently, we've seen her a couple times.
I was going to ask, do you need to set that up, or?
Did you want me to argue?
No, you can argue from the table. Thank you.
Unfortunately, Flashman, that's the case. That's a mess.
Judge, may it please the court?
Snap.
The defense would like the court to take judicial notice of the sentencing memorandum and all its exhibits that were filed on behalf of Daniel Garcia.
The court has reviewed those. We'll take judicial notice.
I would like to highlight the 4 monumental, life-changing events that have profoundly impacted Daniel's life. I won't delve into each one in detail, as the sentencing memorandum thoroughly explains his hardships. What I can say is that these experiences have significantly impacted his life, and it illustrates that Daniel has endured considerable suffering throughout his life. His life in Cuba, immigrating to the U.S., his parents' divorce, his traumatic events, his abuse. Life in Cuba. As you all know, Daniel was born in Havana, Cuba. Life in Cuba was rough and provided poor quality of life to Cubans. Like many people in Cuba, daily life was a struggle. In fact, the average Cuban family lives below the poverty line, and Daniel's family was no different. Immigrating to the U.S., as a result, the Garcias were fed up with the brutal dictatorship of Fidel Castro, and they immigrated to the United States in 2002, when Daniel was 8 years old, and settled in Miami, Florida. Although Daniel's parents made the decision to immigrate to the United States to create a better life for Daniel as a young child, this daunting experience created much anxiety and stress. Daniel states that much of his anxiety stemmed from the uncertainty of the new circumstances, and mainly from separation of his extended family. He missed his family back in Cuba. He missed his friends. This stress of missing his old life and being forced to adapt to his new life caused a tremendous number of feelings of anxiety, apprehension, and isolation for Daniel. Immigrating to the U.S. was overwhelming and scary for Daniel. He left behind everything he ever knew. Daniel was compelled to start a new school and forced to meet new kids and develop new friendships while struggling to balance his cultural identity in this new American environment. As an immigrant, Daniel recalled trying hard to assimilate American culture while trying to maintain his cultural identity. Another major challenge that Daniel faced when arrived in the United States was the language barrier. The fact that he did not speak English affected his academic performance and social interactions. This communication gap resulted in feelings of frustration, isolation, and a reduced self-confidence. As a result, it led to reduced participation in school activities. Compound the fact that he had to adjust to a new educational system. Differences in curriculum, teaching methods, and academic expectations pose many challenges for Daniel. The academic content was also a challenge for Daniel. Additional problems for Daniel were that his parents couldn't help him with his academics as they were not fluent with English, nor were they accustomed to the American curriculum. This transition impacted Daniel's academic performance, which may have led to him eventually dropping out of high school and obtaining his GED. It is evident that his parents' divorce affected him in many ways. While his mother had primary custody of him, he was struggling significantly in school. Daniel's parents' divorce profoundly and negatively affected Daniel, influencing his psychological, emotional, and social development. Daniel's family described the custody relationship between Daniel's parents as a constant tug of war that created a tense and unstable environment, leaving him caught in the middle of a relentless conflict. The emotional toll on Daniel was immense. Trying to please both parents can be difficult and pose many challenges for a child, which may also lead to difficulties in school. The emotional toll of his parents' divorce was huge for Daniel. Daniel desperately missed his family unity. Having to please both parents can be difficult, poses many emotional challenges for a child, which lead to a lot of conflicting feelings for Daniel. As a result, he bottled up all these feelings. Daniel never received treatment for these feelings and had no one with whom to share them. He always tried to please both parents while being shuffled from one parent's home to another. Even today, it is difficult for Daniel to share his feelings. Traumatic experience, the abuse. This time frame in Daniel's life is one of the most horrible and traumatic. One that he was able to share with the mitigation expert, Elizabeth Hart. He was able to provide some detail regarding this disturbing experience. This experience is one that he shared with her in detail, and I provided that mitigation letter to the court that Elizabeth wrote in detail to the court judge. Elizabeth Harvey states that the events that occurred and the family dynamics that affected Daniel Garcia's life impacted him hugely. Despite dropping out of high school in the 10th grade, Daniel later became successful as an avionics technician. Daniel worked alongside his father, who's here in the courtroom, as an avionics technician, and soon became independent in the field himself. Daniel's journey in avionics is impressive. Starting as an apprentice and working his way up to a skilled technician shows his dedication and hard work. As an avionics technician, he repaired and maintained an airplane's electronic system. That's not easy to do, but he did it with a GED and only a 9th grade education. His experience with major airlines like Delta, Southwest, and United highlights his expertise and the trust placed in him within that skilled industry. It's clear that his early exposure to the trade through his father made a significant impact on his as an avionics technician. Daniel worked hard as an avionics technician for over 10 years, his entire adult life. His career in avionics is not easy. Despite his short high school career, he dedicated his adult life in avionics. Length of incarceration. It's imperative to highlight that Daniel Garcia, who is 29 years old, has never been previously convicted of any offense. It's fairly uncommon, Judge, as you know. You've been a judge for many years and you've been an attorney for over 23 years to see someone who's 29 years old and be involved in this type of offense and not have any previous convictions. With that said, Daniel Garcia has been in custody for over 3 years, since June 11th of 2021. That entire time, he's been in custody at the Bexar County Jail. It's also important to note that due to his classification, he has been unable to participate in any rehabilitation programs because of his classification. Otherwise, he would have been participating in them. The letters of support
might not be alive.
We have submitted to the court numerous letters from family members and friends that describe Daniel as a loving and devoted father. They also affirm that he had been working as an avionics technician. They affirm that he is not a violent or aggressive individual. The letters of support from family members attesting that he's a kind and gentle, nature. He has a strong family support system. While he was going through the trial, he had numerous family members here in court. If you will recall, they flew in from Florida to be here and to support him. Samantha Bettis' testimony, Your Honor, while considering Samantha Bettis' testimony, it's important to approach it with caution. It's our position that during Daniel and Samantha's breakup, her primary motive was child custody. Today, her motive appears to be the same. It seems her aim is to have Daniel incarcerated for as long as she can have him incarcerated for a long time, thereby removing any future concerns about any type of child custody issues. So we ask that when you're considering her testimony, just to proceed with caution on Samantha Bettis' testimony. Your Honor, it would not be just to proceed with Daniel Garcia's sentence without mentioning his co-defendant's actions and plea bargain, Nickolle Garcia's plea deal with the state of Texas. It's a defense position that the highest moral obligation to feed, shelter, and protect a child falls upon the mother, the woman who carried and gave birth to Domenic. Yet despite this profound responsibility, the state of Texas offered this mother, who was entrusted with the highest duty to protect her child, a cap of only 15 years in the Texas penitentiary. This decision was made even with the knowledge that she lied time and time again. Nickolle Aguilar has been lying from the very beginning, unable to answer even the simplest of questions without resorting to dishonesty. She lied to this court, to the Honorable Judge Belia Mesa, and could not even answer the basic truthful question when asked if she was a United States citizen. She lied. She falsely claimed that she was a United States citizen. Her deceit didn't stop there. She lied to federal law enforcement agents multiple times, not once, not twice, not 3 times. She continued to lie to them. She lied to her parents, both of them. She lied to the San Antonio Police Department. She lied to the detective, Robert Garcia, when they asked her questions about the whereabouts of her son. She even lied to the Assistant District Attorney's Office. Nickolle Garcia has been lying throughout this entire process. Why? Because she is in fact a monster, not a mother, driven by one singular goal. One singular costs. At all costs. She has manipulated and deceived everyone. Everyone involved to achieve this one end, to get the 15 years. Shame on the state of Texas for allowing her to achieve that goal, because she got the 15 years that she wanted. In closing, Your Honor, as stated in the sentencing memorandum, defense counsel seeks to inform the court of the dilemmas that Daniel has faced throughout his life. Daniel requests the court to consider all of his life circumstances, his limited role, and the length of time in custody when assessing his punishment. We respectfully ask the court to take into account these unusual and significant mitigating factors when assessing Daniel's punishment. We are asking the court to impose a sentence for Daniel Garcia that is equal to that of Nickolle Aguilar.
Thank you. State.
Yes, Mayor Procedure. The evidence of the defendant's guilt was overwhelming. From the video evidence, from the cell phone evidence, from the photos, the fact that he flees the country, the numerous calls that he makes to his mother. And I'd like to remind myself of, in testimony, how many times he's called his mother while he's been incarcerated, yet she's not here. And I'd also ask this court for affirmative finding of family violence, because that is what he is. He is an abuser. He is a domestic abuser. He's abused his children. At the end of the day, we can answer almost every single question about what happened with basically the video evidence. It's him carrying an unconscious child up the stairs. It's him carrying an unconscious child down the stairs, fleeing, not to Miami. Again, it's, Ms. Garza pointed out the numerous family members that showed up to court throughout the guilt-innocence phase. And yet, when we get to this portion of the trial, a bunch of affidavits are submitted, right? And it's because they know what questions are going to be asked. And in those affidavits, we see a great series of mental gymnastics in order to justify everything, or to call things vile slander, to say things are lies, when it's clear as day on the video of what happened. Then you also take into account what Daniela said. One person did the hitting, the other did not. Then you also, in the punishment case, it's also consistent, his behavior of what he did to Nickolle, the abuse, the chokeholds, and all that. It's also consistent with what he did to Samantha. That is who he is. And a lot of those affidavits talk about honesty. And of course, there was no idea to ever put those people on the stand, because as soon as that comes up, that they're vouching for his honesty and his truthfulness, we can simply go to what was presented into evidence in front of this court, which was him lying about going to Miami, when in fact he was going up to Colorado to go dump the child's body out in the wilderness and not tell anybody about it, then flee the country. So again, that's why they're not here. And talking about what was presented in the punishment phase of this trial, there was a witness to some of the domestic abuse that was committed by that defendant, to Samantha, and that would be his mother. She's not here. Why? Because she knows those questions would come. Why is she also not here? Because she knows that the questions would come about, why is there a sudden rise in phone calls from Nickolle's phone to your son when he's leaving the state of Texas? Why is there a whole bunch of calls when he's in the Eagle Pass area? Because they're afraid of those answers. They're afraid of the truth. You know, Judge, it's been about 10 months since I was assigned this case. A great weight placed kind of on my shoulders, and one of the first things I did was get Nathan, who I consider like an older brother, in the office. And with that, Judge, I thought a lot about this moment right now and what I would ultimately say to this court and why we would ask for life in prison. I probably have about around 12 versions of this statement in my head. And each one of those versions, Judge, revolves around this idea that there's a lot of things we don't choose in life. We don't choose who we're born to. We don't choose the circumstances that surround, especially when we're children. And how life can sometimes be just unfair. Domenic didn't deserve what happened to him. Domenic didn't deserve to die. He didn't deserve to have his body dumped on the side of a mountain in Colorado. And it just goes back that, you know, when you think about it, some kids, they get to grow up, they get to go to school, they get to go and play activities, extracurricular activities, and others don't. And he's the reason why Domenic is dead. Him and Nickolle. They're both responsible. He did the hitting, and Nickolle didn't do anything. And ultimately, Judge, years from now, whatever this court decides, they'll still be around. But Domenic won't. He'll always be dead. And I don't know, Judge, I have no idea whether there is something after this life. I want to believe that there is. I try to have faith that there is. But ultimately, I don't know. I can hope and pray and I can have faith towards that. And hope and pray and have faith that he's watching this, that he's looking down, that we're trying. That his life didn't just end at 5.5 years old with no ability to go to college, go to school, have a job, have a career, have a first girlfriend, a first kiss, a prom date, go to the movies, enjoy certain hobbies or whatever. I want to have faith that that's not the end. But I don't know. I don't know. But what I can know, Judge, is that we live right now in this reality. And in this reality, for what he did, he deserves life in prison. And that's what we're asking for. Oh, maybe a first, Judge.
Yes.
Her face. May we approach? Do you have to? His life circumstances were nothing compared to Jose Ruiz. That guy went through hell. Unfortunately, he put Mercedes Lozoya through the same hell. This guy, compared to, you know, she was like, well, he had to switch schools. Too bad. You know what? I did too. In middle school. It sucked. It was awful. I didn't go unalive anybody. Jose Ruiz went through actual abuse. He just put it on another kid. I didn't hear any abuse. And then you talk about he had to move and all this, and then he has a strong family structure. Okay. It can't be both. Oopsies.
Both sides rest and close.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Before you close, was there an exhibit that you were going to
I'll do
admit?
that now, and I was gonna do it afterwards, but you want to do it now after.
Yes. Go ahead.
What
are they marked?
Earthquake.
I was wondering how you'd want to do it, Judge.
I think you're on number 5, so 5 and 6.
There's 3.
There's 3, 5, 6, and 7. Any objection to defense 5, 6, and 7 state? That's what he was asking Samantha about.
No, Your Honor. No objection from the state.
Defense 5, 6, and 7 are admitted for purposes of the record.
He moved countries, but he moved from a dictator to...
And with that, I'm going to close the record of the cause.
And I don't like Nickole's plea agreement, and I don't think they needed it. I think they had them both. It's like Katrina Mendoza. They did not need to give her a plea agreement. They had them both. Hello, cameraman. They could have got them both, and they all four could be in prison for the rest of their lives. Her 15-year sentence is cracked. Judge who has to use the microphone.
Oh, gotcha. Nice.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
The defendant can please rise.
There we go.
Defense counsel, is there any legal reason why we cannot proceed to sentencing today?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Garcia, the jury found you guilty of the offense of intentionally or knowingly causing serious bodily injury to Domenic Aguilar-Acevedo, and there being no legal reason why we cannot proceed with sentencing, and in accordance with that jury verdict, I hereby sentence you to a term of life imprisonment in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division. There is a $5,000 fine. I am making an affirmative finding of family violence. I am making an affirmative finding that a deadly weapon was used in the commission of this crime. There is to be no contact with the family of Domenic Acevedo. There is to be no, and that includes Shirley Acevedo, and it's Domenic Aguilar-Acevedo. That includes Shirley Acevedo and the minor children in her custody. There is to be no contact with Nickolle Aguilar. There is to be no contact with Samantha Bettis and the minor children in her custody. Restitution in the amount of $6,500, that is a joint and several restitution shared with Nickolle Aguilar in the victim compensation account number 22073194. This is not a plea bargain case. This was a verdict by the jury. Therefore, you have the right to appeal your matter. Please get me a trial court certification. You are remanded to the custody of the sheriff's office to begin your sentence. Is there victim impact?
Yes, sir.
Let's get going.
I assume so, Justin, because you can give him a term of years that he would have to serve before he was eligible for parole.
So she need the interpreter?
Domenic Aguilar-Acevedo, just 5 years old, and all that he did was play with his dinosaurs and his sister. And now he is no more with us because one person could not love him just like his life. I will no longer hear him telling me, Nena. Now what I have is a big pain in my heart for the rest of my life. Now I have to see his sister crying for no reason because she just said, I miss Domenic. You didn't just take Dominic's life, you take all of our life, my entire family, and my close friends. We really open our hearts to you, and you're not doing good. You're not doing good. All under the same pain. It's been 3 years now, and this doesn't stop hurt. It seems like it was yesterday. And a very close friend of me, who Domenic called mom and smiled, she sent into you this message. Does not stop it here. One day, you will have to see God and give the true accounts to Him, the creator of the heaven and the earth. That's it.
There is no one else on Zoom. You got off. Okay.
So let the guy in the white t-shirt come back. I'm gonna ping him.
It's ironic that throughout this case, actions speak louder than words, has been the focal point. That was the main argument in your trial. Since then, I've sat with that statement and have reflected upon it. Nickolle took no action. However, you took all the action and have remained silent for the last 3 years. Pointing fingers, blaming other people, even your own daughter. However, that wouldn't surprise me one bit. Having been with you for over 4 years, having 2 children with you, and being on the receiving end of your anger numerous times, I say I know you pretty well. I'll never understand how you could be so angry and let that anger ruin so many other people's lives. With Domenic Aguilar-Acevedo and Daniel better. As Danielle and Alexander's mother, it's my job to protect them, especially from people like you. With that being said, I'm so grateful I got away from you when I did. That was the best decision I could have ever made after enduring your abuse for 4 years. You'll never know the true pain that we've all faced throughout all of this. You'll never know how much the kids truly miss Domenic and how much they ask for him. You'll never know how difficult and heartbreaking it is to have to face your children and tell them that their friends never coming back because of you. It breaks my heart because of anyone had any faith in you to change. It was your own kids. And in return, you failed them. You broke their hearts. I'm the one who has to put them back together. This is something that will never be forgotten, and it's something that isn't forgivable. To heal, Domenic will be remembered by those who love and care for him, especially Danielle and Alexander. That said, they will not know anything else about you until they're of age, and they can make that decision themselves. Hopefully by then, I'll be prepared to answer questions and prepared for what's to come. I'm not going to say I wish you well and I hope to hear from you because I never want to hear from you. In my eyes, you are the worst type of person. You're a monster, you're a coward. I'm hoping for them you get what you deserve and you finally are held accountable for everything that you've done. Domenic and his sister deserve better. As for Danielle and Alexander, they're more of a real family now. A family that takes care of them, protects them, and loves them. And going forward, that's all you ever need to know.
Anyone else?
So I have this promoted on. God loves you, Daniel. I forgive you. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you. And I pray that you come to know Christ. He's healed me and I can bring you peace too. And I'll be praying for you, Daniel. God bless you. I am one, Dominic's maternal aunt. Daniel, there are not enough words to tell you how much I despise you. I saw you with my own eyes hit your dog on the head without a bit of compassion. And when I found out everything that really happened, I hated you like no one else on this earth. But Daniel, when I saw the video of the last time Domenic was alive, with the pain you can see that he was walking because of the beatings and mistreatment from him, I don't forgive you. Dominic didn't deserve that. No child deserves that. I can't imagine what a disgusting piece of heart you have, but it's disgusting. Seeing the video of how you pulled him and you fall on the floor in so much pain. I guess you felt very manly attacking a child like that. I can't get over the fact that my baby, the last face he saw, was your disgusting face. We are left without Dominic. Dominic's little sisters were left without an older brother and their mother, all because you got in their way. Your disgusting presence in our lives marked the before and after. And you took something very important from us. Not all the years they gave you will bring Dominic back to us or fill the void he left. You took a piece of life from all of us and left us with deep sadness, anxiety, and depression attacks. I don't forgive you, and I will never forgive you. And one last one for Dominic's aunt. This is Desiree, Dominic's aunt. You have caused great pain in our family. Because of you, we as a family have faced depression, anxiety, sleepless nights. Because of you, Dominic's sisters will not be able to continue creating memories and adventures with their older brother. Every second in jail, even though very much deserved, will not bring Dominic back. You don't show remorse, and I really hope soon you realize what you did and hate yourself for it. You are despiteful.
We're done here. You can go back. Oh, no, I need the trial court certification. The forms are in the back, please. We're off the record.
I don't think she called him despiteful. Maybe. That's just what the closed captioning said. I don't know. What do you do if you are her mom, her aunt, or her relatives? Because her hands are not clean. Here, it's doing something weird. You know, do you talk to her? What do you do? She was partly the cause for this. That's it. Because I was sitting there trying to think and put myself in that position if my kids did something to one of their kids. Well, only one kid has a kid at the moment, but what would I do? Still a mom. I don't know. But on a different note, I did catch one little tidbit last week. Apparently, I guess you guys are okay if we don't watch him like exit the courtroom. I mean, did you want to see him one last time? Sorry. I thought he was very arrogant in his jail calls, so it kind of changed my attitude, even made it worse towards him. But anyway, I saw on the Lawyer You Know channel, Peter Tragos, apparently there may have been an issue with one of the jurors in the Ashley Benefield trial. Somebody, allegedly, apparently, whatever, went in to, I believe, Court TV's chat while the jurors were deliberating and was saying things in the chat that were lining up with kind of what was happening, apparently, in deliberations. And allegedly, one of the jurors snuck a flip phone into deliberations and was sending stuff out to this person. I don't know. I was trying to remember Was that the judge that was letting the jurors use their cell phones, like at lunch or whatever, to text or call people? Was he the one that kept giving the cell phones back to them during the breaks? That we were shocked that they were doing that. What the corn? So, yeah. Uh-oh. Okay. I thought that he was the judge that was doing that. And so I was kind of like, what do you expect? But apparently, so they were kind of, he was kind of talking about, so after you go through security, they check you, you don't have to go back through the metal detector again. So they were saying that there was way to get a phone in the deliberations. And if they did sneak a phone into the deliberations, I don't know what that means for her. It was interesting to listen to. So I don't know. If you guys can find him, it's a lawyer, he did it. I can't tell you what day he did it on last week. I don't remember. But of course, the defense wants to talk to the juror. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. And it may be one of those things where they get a new trial. I don't know. There's a lot that could happen with it. Peter Tragos obviously is an actual attorney, unlike myself, that he had a lot of information on it. So he had the motion that they filed, that the defense filed on it, that had a lot of information about the guy that was in Court TV. I think it was Court TV's chat, and the juror, I believe, were brother and sister, maybe. I don't think this guy has a YouTube channel. I never.
Welcome back. This morning, the mother of missing toddler Elijah.
All righty. It was like his username is like that hoodie guy. I'm not sure. I don't know that he has an actual YouTube channel or if he's just a person that was in there chatting. Now, there were some things that he was saying, and I don't remember them, and I apologize, that to me, there's a lot of people that come in and say a lot of crap during deliberations all the time that just was like, sorry. Sorry. It was old Julie Grant from Court TV. I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry. She's like my least favorite, too. Here. It's muted. And it's gone. She's gone. It's funny because I never touched the volume. But anyway, there were some things that he was saying that I thought was just a coincidence because, people are always saying, oh, the verdict's in, when the verdict is never in. And so I didn't put much stock into that, except I think there was one time that he did say the verdict was coming, and whatever time he gave, it did come down in that time. Again, that one could easily be a coincidence. So I don't know. I think they talked, like there was like one holdout in there, and that's why she got man stuff instead of that's why she got a lesser included, because it was a compromise verdict, which I hate that. But I guess it's better than if they didn't think that she deserved the top charge. I guess that's better than giving her the top charge, because that's all you had, I guess. But so I'll be kind of following that as I can to see what happens. All this stuff takes so much time that who knows? Y'all might be like grandparents by the time that gets settled, or Murdaugh gets settled, or Delphi goes to trial. There's so much stuff going on. But I think if she Yeah. I don't know. It came back late, that's for sure. I think if she had a different defense attorney, if they retried the case, knowing now, I think she would stand a better chance. But apparently, we were probably some of the few who thought that she was actual domestic a DV victim. Um, because there was, I guess, talk about she didn't have any physical injuries. We talked about all that stuff, that you don't have to have physical injuries to be a victim of that. But some people can't get over that thought of, I can't see any injury, so she must be lying. It's kind of like maybe when you see a person pull up to a handicapped parking spot and they get out and walk into the store just fine. You're like, well, I don't see anything, so they probably didn't need to park there. It's probably like their grandma's car. It's just not true. Some things are just not visible, but they are there. Oh, I think Jose Baez would be awesome to see go against those two prosecutors. Those girls were mean. They were mean girls. I think that would be hilarious. Also, sorry, I think the defense attorney in the Matthew Moore trial would have handed those two women their lunch as well. I like her. And I think it's been a while ago, but I think Jose Baez and the defense attorney, I can't ever think of her last name. I think they tried a case together in Ohio that I didn't watch because it was in the middle of all the pandemic stuff, and there was all the plexiglass everywhere, and you can't hear because you can't understand. But I do think they were able to get whatever this doctor was charged with. Both of those guys took on his case and won, of course. Dottie Ross. Yeah, she's very pretty and she's very good. I'm sure she's very expensive. I don't know. She's very expensive. I haven't needed her services, thank goodness. But she's very, very good. And I liked her. I hate to say I enjoyed watching her. I don't enjoy why we are watching her for any reason, but to watch them work is fascinating to me. So Menashe, yeah, Menashe, or Menashe. Yes, thank you. Thank you, George. Alan Jackson. He's good too. He's good. It's fun for me. It's not entertaining. It's interesting for me to watch an attorney, because I've watched it happen. I've been sitting there and watching it happen when they're talking to you, but then it's time to go to work, and that switch flips and they just go into attorney mode, and it's like, wow, I don't know this person. And it's amazing. Amazing. Oh, they are not together. I don't even know that those were real. You'd have, come on. Oh my goodness. All right. So on my calendar here, I have that the Tarnava, or whatever his last name is scheduled for Friday. I should be back on Wednesday unless something odd happens. My schedule is going to be very much up in the air for the next couple of weeks because I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow and what that's going to entail. I am expecting a call. I took my dog in. It was a week ago. Friday, this past Friday, they did a biopsy on her, had to send that off. That was 5 business days, so I'm not sure if it went out Friday or if it went out that following Monday. And today's the 5th business day, so I am expecting a call from the vet anytime too, and I don't expect it to be good. However, she's acting fine. I just have to talk to him and see if he comes back and tells me she has cancer, then I need to talk to him and see what we're going to do, because right now she's acting fine. She's still playing, she's still eating, she's still alert, she's still her. So those are the 2 things that I have on my plate right now, trying to get myself better and then trying to figure out what to do with my dog. So my next couple weeks, my schedule may be kind of weird, but as of right now, I expect to be back Wednesday. I have no idea what we're going to do. I don't have nothing on my calendar except for Friday. So we'll figure something out. Thank you, George. Johnny Cochran was very smart with that leather glove. That was a little trickery going on there. Little trickery. I will definitely do that. I do have that. Thank you, Flash Fan. I do have that 2-day hearing that took place a couple months ago that I've been waiting for the judge to make a ruling on. That's out of St. Louis, the same city that Lamar Johnson was. So I do have that just kind of hanging there that I would like to watch with you guys sometimes, because I think we need to see the other side of when people, well, I don't know about this dude. We saw Lamar Johnson. He was wrongfully convicted. Took him 30 plus years to get out of jail, to get his everything, go through the appellate courts and get rejected and keep going, and finally get somebody to rehear his trial, and they did overturn his conviction. I've not seen what's happened with his lawsuit against the city. He was not allowed to sue the state. But so we might do that if we need to fill in some time. I told Jody I'm not really going to commit to a big trial right now, because I don't know what I'm going to be. I don't have any idea what's going to happen. And I want to be ready for Ty's case. We got Ty, and then we got Sarah Boone. Those 2, I want to make sure that I am good for. So it may be hit or miss until then. But that's all I know for you guys right now. I should have more news on Wednesday, maybe, since I go see them tomorrow. Thank you to have. I'm doing the best that I can do. So, but that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, coming back and seeing me after being gone all week. I apologize. If I do not see you Wednesday, I will plan on seeing you Friday. Hopefully that sentencing is covered. If not, we'll just figure it out. So, goodbye, Gabby. You have a good day. You too, Flash Fan. Gabby, you're making me laugh because I could walk across the street right now and be in a cornfield. Holy corn. All right. I have a new outro. So hopefully it doesn't blast you. I've been trying to work on them and get these things figured out. I'm not going to go get my corn on. So here is my new outro. I'll see you guys all later. Hopefully this plays the correct way.
We're wrapping up today's show. Lights out, that's how it goes. Subscribe before you leave, though. See you next time in the flow. Hit the like button, it'll glow. Ring the bell, don't say no.